Right, guys, let's jump in to this one. Exclamation mark rant. What, guys? What the hell is exclamation mark rant? I don't even know what that is. Okay, don't even know what that is. Oh, exclamation mark riot. Wait, what? Patrick, I don't really know what you're trying to do. Guys, listen. Disgrace now. Shall we start watching this video? Shall we check it out, okay? So this is the game that you guys know I'm hugely hyped about, right? You know what this game is, yeah? Wow, Sazmaz. This chat is going up on a YouTube video at some point in the next day or two. You do realize this, right? All this chat above my head, this will be on a YouTube video. I promise. You get to see how, hashtag almost Xmas. You get to see how toxic you guys are, you know? Toxic chat. Guys, we ready? Right, here we go. Let's pause the epic music. Let's play this. Let's get our volumes. Any questions during these videos, guys, please pop them in chat, please.
Hello, everybody.
Cheers, Patrick.
Welcome to my first, and the Ashes of Creation's first, Ask Me Anything stream. I'm happy to have you guys all present and watching. It's pretty exciting over the past week.
Sazmaz, that'll be after this video.
What's been going on and watch the excitement from our community, our existing community, and the new eyes that we have on the project. It's been a good long time that we've been working on Ashes, and now that we're finally getting into some alpha footage, it's great to see feedback. It's great to see feedback from the community. It's great to see the interest that people are having in Ashes now, and it's actually really good to know that.
Saz, I want your questions in here, okay? During this video, I want your questions in here.
The core philosophies that I have with Ashes, that we have as a team. So I apologize if the sound is not as good as it could be. I don't have a headset. I thought it'd be more comfortable to use the Yeti and just kind of sit here and have a chill stream.
Fair play them.
With you guys.
Guys, a nice house. That's one thing I can say.
Those of you who didn't have an
That's a nice
opportunity
house.
to check out the Reddit
Chez says,
thread
is this a
on our
stream?
Ashes of Creation subreddit.
Yes. Oh, it
Feel free to
was.
head over
It
there.
was.
There's a lot of questions for sure, and I'm gonna try my best to get through it.
It was a live stream, Cheza, which is now been uploaded to YouTube, which I now want to watch to see what he says in here. There's going to be a bunch of Ask Me Anything questions about this game that we're going to be playing, hopefully. Do you know what I mean?
We may go over, and I'm okay with that.
Cheers, Cheza, bro. Just a lighting in the room.
Bear with us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the Reddit thread, and I'm going to filter based off of a sorting of the top scored kind of questions. So if you guys, there's no way we're going to be able to get through all the questions, but Sarah and Margaret are going to go through the ones that have been answered previously, and they're going to try to get through linking answers to some of those questions. And
give us the questions.
You guys can check that out as well. But if you have questions that you see that you also want answered, feel free to go and vote, and that will filter the questions up.
Combat's a big one for me, guys. I'll be honest. Listen, combat is like a huge one for me in this game, and I hope he answers a bit about it in this AMA. Just like,
you guys for,
you have to get it right.
I do want to thank you guys for coming and being a part of this project. It's so incredibly important that the community uses their voice, and not just in Ashes, just in gaming in general, because companies.
Patrick, for some reason in the chat above there, you can see he's asking proper daft questions.
Listening to
ain't got time for
consumer. And the best way that you can
still buy a ticket. No.
Is by listening to the feedback that your community gives you. And that's just not on a design front. That's also on a product front.
Listen, guys, at the end of the day, can you guys remember an MMO? Sazmaz, right? Anybody you guys who played MMOs in the past, can you remember a game where you got to find out so much information as it was being built, an actual genuine feedback, where it actually makes effects and changes in the game?
And that's why it's important for consumers to speak out and give their feedback, because the board does see that. And the success of other companies that try new things, that take risks, like Intrepid is taking, or that Ashes of Creation is taking, it's important for those risk takers.
Is there any Ashes of Creation merch?
Get the love.
Can we get some t-shirts?
Do
they sell t-shirts?
Support, so that it shows other businesses really the direction that the genre should go in. So I want to thank you all for tuning in and for coming and showing your support for Ashes. You know, there's still a long road ahead of us, but with your feedback.
Yeah, but Patrick, do they sell merch now? Can I buy an Ashes of Creation t-shirt right now?
Available for an
right this second.
And that's really what, you know, all of us want. We all want, you know, that nostalgic kind of first feeling we had with an MMO, and it's very difficult to get there. But I think that what we're doing with Ashes kind of answers that call. I mean, one of the favorite things I've always remembered about, you know, new MMOs that I used to play back in the day, whether it was, you know, Lineage 2 or, you know, Arcade or many of the other MMOs I played, is getting up. I was reading a comment this morning. Is getting up each morning, and, you know, I hate to say it, but it was almost like just no-lifing the game and knowing that you need to get in there and go play with your friends and, you know, progress and participate in this.
I don't think Shezza in the chat knows how Twitch Pay works.
And that's a feeling that I think we're trying to get with Ashes. So, without further ado,
there we go. It's the questions.
Answering some questions. Now, I'm going to try to be quick because I want to get through as many questions as possible. And then additionally, for those of you,
Shezza, actually the weather here today is not that great. I was out in the sun yesterday, but it was like 32, 33 degrees in England. It is not that today. It's completely cloudy, it's raining, it's a bit miserable.
I think I got permission from Margaret to leak a little bit today. So you may hear me giving
Patrick, check the Ashes of Creation website. You can't buy merch right now. As of what day is it today? The 1st of August 2020. I'd buy a t-shirt right now. If the hoodies are pretty cool, I'd probably buy a hoodie. I'd get involved in that.
Also, I am human, so, and there's been a lot of iterations.
That's what they should add to the packages online. You like the $250 and the $350 one? They should add that in those packages where you just get like one t-shirt, you know?
Question that I have on the record.
And you get to claim them on launch or something.
So this one's from Cold One FTB. He asks, when discussing
guys,
the
first
breakdown of rogue archetypes, you said all classes are capable adventurers, but only rogues will excel at delving the deepest dungeons and finding the most hidden treasures.
This is true.
How literal is this?
So,
will there be rooms or partial
so the rogue
floors
classes,
that only this archetype can get to?
You need them.
What else can you tell us
in your
about this
dungeon
archetype?
teams to find certain doors to go to certain places? Like,
yes, so we have what are called utility skills, and a lot of MMORPGs really only focus on active combat skills. But some of the favorite things that I've had as a gamer is tabletop RPGs like Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons. And there are skills in those games that are relevant to either your environment or the quest line, and they're a little bit, you know, sometimes story mode. The way we're implementing these utility skills, specifically as it relates to rogues, is rogues will be able to essentially discover hidden doors, or they'll be able to track find, the ranger will be able to track find, sorry. They'll be able to discover traps, they'll be able to discover additional treasures. So if you're in a party and you have a rogue that's available, they'll be able to use that utility skill to discover these random doors that might exist in a dungeon.
That's pretty sick.
The way we make it,
rogues will be needed in every team then.
You know, essentially the same door every time, and it's just, you know,
the rogue could be a fairly popular class when you start off in Ashes.
Is these locations are randomly spawned throughout different times of the day, so they'll change essentially as you go into a dungeon at different times. So it'll be important and relevant for parties to make sure that they have a diversity of archetypes available to them, and in particular for the rogue's case, because they can find those hidden type doors and then have access.
That's pretty sick. So every time you go into a dungeon, it won't be the exact same. Do you know what I mean? It'll be different.
Next question from Chaos Miter.
It's about 22 here, Shezza.
Says, how
further
will
northwest.
XP be affected by grouping for killing, questing, and farming? So for killing quests, if you're a part of a group and you kill a monster or a raid boss, that experience is going to be divisible by the number of party members. Additionally, in order to kind of
it's like 1 million XP for kill a dragon gets divided between your party.
From the death of the monster, there is a multiplier that's applied to the incoming experience for the party. And that multiplier increases as you add additional members to the party. That way, the group effect has an ability to stay relevant to the solo experience gain that's possible as well. Now, that's not going to be too significant. I believe at its height,
that seems standard.
It has like a
seems fair
1.3
standard
multiplier. Maybe it's a 1.4 multiplier. I'm not sure. On the questing side, the questing experience is not divisible. So even if you're part of a group and you guys are collectively kind of doing solo quests, those will maintain the experience value.
That makes sense as well. You get 1,000 XP from a quest. 5 of you do it, you all get the 1,000.
Pretty much
makes sense.
Only divisible nature of experience gained is applied to monsters and raid bosses that are killed.
So yeah, you kill. Hang on, just before we go on with this one, you go kill one of these like massive end boss, game dungeons, dragons or something like what they show you in some of the videos. It's fairly standard stuff. Do you know what I mean? Before I smack my microphone, it's fairly standard stuff. If that monster's got 1,000,000 XP and you got 8 in your party, you'll get that divided by 8. Or if you have only 4 in your party, you'll get a lot more in the XP because there's a lot less of you. Do you know what I mean? So that makes sense. That's fairly standard in most MMOs, I'd say. Fairly standard.
It's gonna be.
Should be.
Next question from FDF86, and I haven't previewed these questions. I believe we just opened the thread an hour ago, so bear with me. Considering the number of nodes that are in the world, how many different dungeons and world bosses will there be?
Damn.
Is it going to be 1 dungeon per node, or will nodes share dungeons that will unlock when either of the associated nodes level to the appropriate tier?
Makes sense.
There's a lot of questions from this individual, but I'll answer that top one. So considering that there's around 103 nodes that are present in the world, there's a significant portion of dungeons. They will, however, share locality because the initial zone of influence at a 0-stage node is relatively small. So dungeons are considered essentially these points of interest that exist between multiple nodes.
Kind of like Skyrim or Elder Scrolls Online, just dungeons kind of like randomly everywhere.
We're going to take over nearby nodes as well through our vassal system, locking them out from progressing further than the parent node. And that node is going to then have influence over that dungeon point of interest. The number of raid bosses that are present in the world at start. Obviously, we have a lot of expansions and additional content that's planned for post-launch.
All free / included in your monthly pay as well.
I would say 12 and 15.
So no box cost for like future DLCs.
Bosses that are present, and that does not obviously include the dungeon bosses that will be present and the regional bosses that will be present too. The difference between dungeon bosses and regional bosses and raid bosses, legendary raid bosses, is essentially the amount of players that are necessary in order to complete that content, the difficulty level, as well as the drop tables that come along with those. So legendary equipment is only going to be droppable from legendary world bosses. The regional bosses.
Imagine you're strolling through a woods or a forest or something, and a legendary boss just spawns 1v1. Let's go.
The progression of certain types of nodes and the location of those nodes as well. Okay. Question from Frozen. Frozen asks, many people believe that multi-boxing is a pay-to-win feature. Why is it being allowed in Ashes of Creation, and will there be...
If you don't know what multi-boxing is, by the way, some MMOs allow you to open up to like 2 times, 3 times the game. And if you buy an account, like 3 accounts, you can then log into the game on one machine, but like 3 different versions of the game. And you can make like 2 of the characters auto follow the front character that you're controlling, which means you can, in effect, even though it'll be a little bit slower, and you couldn't physically control all 3 at the exact same time without flicking between screens, you could essentially level up like 3 characters at once. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what multi-boxing is if you don't know.
Be any restrictions put on it? That's a very good question. So I've been torn. You know, I see both sides of the coin on the multi-boxing argument as a pay-to-win feature. So first and foremost, let me clarify that there will be absolutely no pay-to-win in the game from an advantage standpoint that can be purchased by an individual character.
That's what we like to hear.
And what I've been just absolutely livid about in the previous games I played, and just let me give you an example.
No pay to win for this game is huge.
Directed
it is huge.
To form an in-game economy. companies in the past that I have played MMOs with have introduced game mechanic influencing items. So I'll just give you an example. I'm not going to name the game, but I will say very early on in one game that I played, there was a particular resource that could be farmed either in illegal farms or on your player farms. And this resource had an opportunity to proc into a higher rarity resource if it was struck by lightning.
What?
To give you some idea of what game it is. But if it was struck by lightning. And that particular resource was a gateway to certain types of items, such as tractors that allowed you to move resources in the world and collect additional gold from doing so, or other resources. And it had a very high value because it was such a rarity. The game creators decided that they would introduce in the pay shop a seedling that had a greater chance of proccing into this specific tree type. And
that would piss me off.
Destabilized the market for what players spent.
That would make me so unhappy. That was kind of like what Sazmaz was talking about on, I think he said, was it WoW? Did he say on? He grinded 5 months.
Flooded the market
He grinded for like 5 months playing PvP to earn some weapon sets, and then all of a sudden those weapon sets, I think he said WoW, all of a sudden those weapon sets were then purchasable on the store not long after he'd spent all that time completing it. That kind of stuff would piss me right off. So I'm happy that you can't do that in this game, and I hope that even after launch, so let's say it's not the world's greatest launch that they expect, which happens with so many games, I hope they then don't refer to all the pay to win stuff, because if you look at a lot of MMOs that are still going now, that are basically running from pay to win, you know, from like people who just like to pay money and advance in the game, like most of those games didn't start like that. They started with like monthly subscriptions, box fees, all that kind of stuff, and then they dropped the monthly subscriptions, make it free to play, but you have to buy more things in store progressively to get, you know, certain zones and stuff. I hope this game never does that. I hope they sort of hold out on their pay monthly subscription and no box fees and no model. I hope they hold out on that model for as long as possible.
That particular resource.
Well, forever they can.
Huge example of a terrible idea when it comes to implementing pay-to-win mechanics into a game. Additionally, I am also against pay-to-convenience. I consider pay-to-convenience when it comes to, let's say, inventory items or slot spaces. I think that those are also an advantage that the character receives based on their paying money for. With regards to multiple accounts and multi-boxing, that's a little bit difficult for me because it could be conceived as pay to win because you can progress on a second character and you can then gift that progression to your primary character. In that scenario, yes, I can see the argument. However, if the character progresses with the same amount of effort and time needed by the person who's playing, and they maintain that progression on that character, then I don't consider it pay to win. I consider it a second account. So initially what I'm going to say is...
You're not even at a huge advantage as well. If you actually multi-box, you're not at a huge advantage because, first of all, your PC has to be able to run 3 forms of the game. Granted, 2 forms of the game, for example, if you're using 3, will be sort of in the background, not using as much resources, but your PC will still have to run 3 versions of the game, and you'll have to try and control all three characters. Do you know what I mean? Which you obviously can't do. You can't run around as a 3 and control all 3. You can't do that. Nobody will be good enough to do that, or not properly anyway. Do you know what I mean? You won't be as good as 3 actual human characters. Do you know what I mean? You have to make them follow you all the way around. Do you know what I mean? Programs for MB. What you on about? Athos, sorry. And Proven Frog, welcome in, guys. We're just watching this AMA from a couple days ago. Seen in other games. Programs for MB. I don't know what that is, but I have seen people use multi-boxing though. Oh, sorry. I see what you're saying. So there's programs that you can use to help you multi-box. I don't know. I hope they don't allow that somehow.
Capability will be allowed within Ashes of Creation. There are a few safety nets that I've put in place that kind of restrict the ability for abuses that we've seen in other games happen. For example, the freehold system, which is a primary arc in the processing artisanship tree, can only have 1 freehold per account. So it's not going to be like other games where, you know, your character can have 3 or 4 or 5 properties that each character can then have, which creates a very exacerbates the land issue significantly. And then additionally, one other concern.
No proven frog, not that I know of.
One other concern on multi-boxing is it's very difficult to implement restrictions and enforcement around.
Do I go in the background?
Because there are, I mean, you can have IP restrictions. However, there are.
This is good. What he's about to say is this is good.
Together, there are roommates that play together, and there's a wide net that can be cast there, which can prove false positives in enforcing the multi-boxing rule. So it's a little bit difficult in that regard as well. So that's my multi-boxing.
It's true. Answer. You know, you might have 5 people stream a house.
Okay, Frozen asks.
All living there, you know.
Again from Frozen.
Papa J's custom rings. Welcome in, man. Assist features in games allow multi-tombs to follow the main multi-box setup. So really run the main tune and the others are all set for assist. Really? Is that a thing? That's cheating, man. That kind of thing. I'll call you Papas. I'll call you Papa J's. Papa J's, I think that's pure cheating. Like, for example, you can't be playing a tank, for example, and then buy 2 more accounts. Use this multi-boxing software and buy 2 healers, and these 2 healers are just going to passively heal you as you're running around with your one main character. That's cheating. Do you know what I mean? Whereas multi-boxing, if you just had the 2 characters on the alternate accounts just following you, and you're all kind of, and then you have to click between to pick up the quests, and then you follow one guy basically does the quest. You just kind of like speed up the process of leveling alts, which I still don't really like, but you know, it's probably another PvP games like WoW. Or the old Anarchy Online I see all the time. They need to stop that. You do not want to see that in this game. That would be terrible. Imagine coming up 1v3, dying to a guy that has 2 healers behind him, and then you realize those 2 healers are just multi-boxers. They need to somehow develop a way to stop that. I don't know how. Maybe you block the software from allowing the game to be run inside it. I don't know. Bielsa says the same as well. It happened in WoW. Axel says, is multi-boxing even fun? No, Axel, listen, I know it won't be fun. Listen, the one time I've ever multi-boxed, right? So I used to play Lord of the Rings online years and years and years and years ago, right? And another guy that I knew, he was like away for the weekend, and he was literally a healer, right? So and we're going through some new content, and he said, yeah, look, here's my account, multi-box to help you out, because I was struggling in a zone on my own. So I literally, in Lord of the Rings online, I got his healer player on his account to right click and follow, so it auto followed me anywhere I went. I would be fighting as I normally did, and then I would click on my other tab because they'd be in windowed mode, and I would like hit 1 or 2 healing spells and then click on my other one and go back to the attacking one. It kept me alive. It wasn't fun to play because you have to keep switching between the 2 clients and stuff, so it wasn't fun to do. It was cheating in my opinion. And once I'd done that for a day, I was like, yeah, I don't really like doing this, mostly because it took the fun away from playing a game. Do you know what I mean? I mean, imagine playing any game out there where you need like health potions or mana potions. You've got to buy them, craft them, whatever, but you just give yourself unlimited. That's essentially what I did when I was multi-boxing on that game in Lord of the Rings Online years ago. So I don't think I'm ever going to do it again. Can we take a second to appreciate this guy's house? This guy's house looks incredibly nice. I'm not 100% sure where or how this man has made his money. Fair play to him, but his house does look incredibly nice. And Papa J's, thanks very much for the follow as well. But let's continue this video on. Any more questions, guys, about this? Just pop it in the chat. You know what I mean?
There are concerns that costumes bought from the cash shop will hide someone's real gear, making it difficult to tell how powerful their character is in PvP. Will there be an option to turn off other people's cosmetics in the game? So that's a 2-point question. 1, when it comes to player threat assessment, you will be able to target a player, and very quickly at a glance, you will be able to see a buff on the character that represents the type of gear they're predominantly wearing, whether it be plate, leather, or cloth. And then you will also see a border around that gear that gives you an idea of the tier and quality. So you won't have to hover over and see. You'll be able to, at a glance, tell that this person is going to be effective against physical damage mitigation, and that the level of gear they're having is, tier whatever, and it is enchanted or something based off just a very quick.
Okay.
So that's the first thing.
That's not too bad.
With regards to turning off cosmetics, previously I had mentioned that there is going to be what we call a default player appearance, and the primary reason for having default player appearance is not to turn off cosmetics. It is to help the player client render multiple targets in siege scenarios or high group content scenarios. So with having that functionality present, what I've decided
exactly, Bielsa. So Bielsa says in the chat there, so it's not going to be like transmog on WoW. Yeah, so basically they're like transmogging all of the equipment, so you're looking at it but you have no idea what that equipment is. It could look like some high-end raid gear boss and you're like, oh, I don't want to touch this guy. Looks like he's got like the real gear, but really he's got some like mid-tier stuff, and he's just got guys, 2 seconds. I have a phone call for some reason. 2 seconds. Back, boys. Apologies for that. There was a milkshake and coffee place near me that deliver, and I didn't hear the door, so they rang me. Right, but so yeah, so like you were saying about the transmog and stuff, Bielsa, you're exactly right. Exactly right. But yeah, so Bielsa, you're spot on. But let's move on with this video anyway, because he's kind of explained it, so be good to see.
We're going to enable that option when there is a certain number of rendered clients within range or at specific events. And the reason
so this makes sense. This makes sense. This makes sense.
Cosmetics, whether purchased from the shop or earned in game, are an important component of MMORPGs. You know,
everyone likes skins, right?
There's a lot of collectors
everyone likes skins
who spend a great deal of time either in game achieving these things or spend money purchasing them from the cosmetic only marketplace. And we don't want to demean or reduce that achievement or that expenditure. So it's going to be situational where the default appearance will be applied and can be activated.
Again, it makes sense. He should reduce some rendering times and stuff and stop transmogging for PvP. Makes sense.
So Sentinel says, have you decided what happens to a player caravan? Oh,
exactly,
I'll refresh after this so I can make sure that the top votes are counted. Have you decided yet what happens to a player caravan if they are in the middle of a trip and have to log off or get DC'd?
Ooh, what happens here?
Try to make it halfway to my destination one night, find a safe area and log out, and then log in the next day to finish delivery. No. So there will be a time delay that starts ticking when the caravan logs off. And that time delay is probably going to be between 5 and 10 minutes. So essentially what's going to happen is, first of all, well, I'm sorry, hold on. That's a different point. That's for the mule thing. For the caravan specifically, if you are disconnected or log off, the caravan will persist in the world.
Oh, with no one to defend it.
That's what's going to happen with the caravan. That will persist and exist still in the world.
You do not want that to happen. You will lose all of your ship.
Yeah. Okay, let me refresh real quick. I'm sorry. Let's see. I am refreshing. And we will see if there have been different votes applied. Okay. Okay, FT86, we answered that one. We answered that one.
Hey, Bielsa and Proven Frog, you get them depending on how many hours. So you need to get past 100 hours.
UK. What are the benefits to choosing a religion to follow?
Ooh, religions in this game. These are interesting.
How hard is it going to be to change a religion? I would love to be able to roleplay as a religious fanatic, converting people to my deity.
There's literally going to be Pep awesome. Going around shouting praise be to everyone.
That as well.
But no, religions are something a little bit different in this game.
First of all, yes, you may only choose one religion at a time to follow. Religions are unique in the sense that they have...
Proven Frog? Come on, mate, you're making this hard for me. It's just L points, like you've already typed in. It tells you hours and your points.
Have progression based off of quests that are uniquely offered to followers of that religion. Depending on your both performance in those quests, as well as your number of quests completed, you will advance in rank within the religion. When you advance in rank within the religion, you will gain
top hours or top points.
You will gain access to unique shop items, and you will gain access to discounts, as well as roles that will happen during either events for the node or sieges for the nodes that you're a citizen of, as long as it has a temple dedicated to the deity. You can change your religion as well. If you do change, you'll lose your progression within the...
So you can switch in between religions. That's pretty good.
Also, the top tier achievement within religions is going to be gaining access to unique augments that can be stacked on top of your secondary archetype augments. Those have to do with more of a give and take type system based off of the choices that you have. Okay, yeah. Next question. From Red 7 Silence. Will base class clerics be the only players who have a direct healing spell for other players? If so, will there be any way to have other classes heal, such as...
Oh, we've got drinks everywhere now. We've got literally drinks everywhere. We've got the milkshake, we've got the coffee, we've got a Diet Coke from McDonald's. So, Dougie, how's it going, man?
The base class
long time no see, Dougie. Cheers to the host.
They, as well as bards, will have direct healing effects. Bards will be much less, and the bards will have will be proximity based as opposed to direct target.
Just a Coke, a Diet Coke, Proven Frog. That's it.
The clerics will.
So clerics are going to be main healers. Bards are going to be like minor off healers.
We tested this a little bit. Where did we test it? I think we tested it in our Castle Siege testing that we did with Phoenix Initiative. So in the Castle Siege testing that we did with Phoenix Initiative, we had action-based weapon skills that you could target, and I'm not sure which weapon it was. I think it was a scepter that you could fire off.
And not from McDonald's, Proven Frog. No, man's losing weight right now. Man's over a stone down.
Grouped with them. We have not decided yet to implement that type of feature within the MMORPG. It was more on the action side testing.
But Dougie, you see much about this game? You're going to play it when it's out?
But to answer your question, the base archetype cleric will be the predominant healing force class with some supplemental healing that would be more over
supplemental healing from some of the other classes. But let's be honest, guys. Cleric, you want to do the healing? Get on a cleric.
Okay. Oh, and one other component there is through the secondary class augment features, it will be possible for some base archetypes to augment their active skills that will grant either themselves the potential to heal or will have very mitigated healing for other party members also.
You can have some minor off-heal characters, yeah.
The purpose of secondary archetypes and the augment system is to blur the line a little bit with...
Okay, this is Ashes of Creation, a future MMO, which should be, I'm hoping should be out in 18 months to 2 years. That's what I'm hoping. Papa J says, they're going to have mods for Ashes like heat bot and things. No, Papa J's, no. So this is an MMORPG. So because it's because it's online and you're against basically other players and with other players, mods and things they won't really have, I would presume. Maybe you can get a graphical mod like Skyrim when they brought out that HD mod and stuff like that. Maybe at a maximum. But to be honest, they don't really allow people to mod these kind of games because then that will just create cheating. Do you know what I mean? So no. Is that the Dark Souls game? Dougie, you're so out of touch, son. Dougie, you're so out of touch. No, it's a future MMO. You know, like Guild Wars, World of Warcraft, you know, all those kind of Elder Scrolls Online, those style of games. But it's completely different, though. They got so much more things going on. But no, it's not like Dark Souls. But it's a thing from WoW to help healing, like in the grid system. Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, so the mods where you can see them on screen. I have no idea. They've not mentioned it. They've not mentioned it.
Class roles. So while we're following a traditional Trinity type system in class roles, we are utilizing the secondary augment system to allow players to move the dial a little bit in one direction.
They'll probably have UI mods that you can edit and customize yourself. Most MMOs do. So probably, Papa J's, probably.
Asks, how will food consumption work in this game? As in, will they act as long-term buffs or something else? Super excited for the project. Godspeed, Intrepid. Thank you, Frog P. Appreciate that, buddy. So food consumption. Food consumption will act in certain ways. So first of all, the higher quality the food based on the cooking profession that a player excels in, the greater potential for the buff's duration. In addition, you can increase the buff that food gives through the furniture system that can be placed in homes. So for example, if you have a completed dish and you process that dish inside of, let's say, an oven that has to be constructed and placed within a certain grade home.
So you're gonna buy an oven to do your cooking at home, okay?
As well. Another thing is buffs from food can be proximity based also. So for example, if a player chooses to construct a tavern or a business on their freehold, they can offer food through that tavern, excuse me, through that tavern, and players who are visiting the area doing hunting quests can visit the tavern, eat food if it's available, and they will receive a greater buff that is proximity based. Essentially, if they hunt around that person's business, they will receive the benefit
decent.
of the buff.
I like that.
Additionally,
I like that.
Business can be upgraded through the access of additional blueprints, as well as
everybody come round to my house. I've got the best dish in town, and then you can just be buffing everybody who's doing questions near your house. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Expands. So it kind of like it makes your business, more popular and more known and have greater abilities.
I like that. Let's just get more people interacting with different people. I like it. Not a bad system.
Okay. Adversary GG. Holy moly. There's a lot of question there. So let's see. Starting experience, artisan gameplay, and
guys, don't forget in the chat if you have questions, ping them in because some of them I might already know the answer to from other things that I've watched so far.
I'll try. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what. I'll answer two because one's easy. Will players be required to play through the starting zone after coming out of the Divine Portal, or will they be allowed to branch out and proceed to other areas and content immediately? Yes. There is no railroaded-driven theme park experience here. You will have the opportunity to create your own destiny in that regard, which means you don't have to necessarily follow the quest line, nor do you have to participate in events or
you can literally level up in various different ways.
Experiences around the starting area. Now,
okay.
It may be beneficial to do that. And in that regard, I guess there could be a meta around doing that. But you could branch out, proceed to other areas, and do different content. It really comes down to, I had a question, I remember one live stream where players said, listen, day one, what's my objective? Well, because we have so many progression paths, that objective is really determined by your goals.
I wonder if you can then level up solely through crafting. Isn't there some games where you could just craft your way to the max level?
If you want to go with your guild and try to establish an area as a crossroad or an encampment far away from the starting area,
or do you get like crafting XP, so it's not the same as your actual level progression XP?
Class as fastly leveled as possible. You can do that as well. If you want to get a grab on the gatherables,
I wonder, boys,
and develop tools so that you get access to higher end gatherables first, you can do that as well. It's really kind of your choice here. Let me answer one from the artisan gameplay question section. What is the team's vision on the scarcity of resources for gatherers? Will these be one-time use resource nodes that are only tapped by the first player there, or will they be shared cooldowns on resource nodes? So, the idea behind the resource system is a few different applications here. First of all, yes, there will be some resources that are one-time gatherables, and then will randomly spawn at a different location. However, there are also large vein gatherables, and this essentially is a system where a resource node will have multiple access to gathering from it. It will have a finite number, and this will likely attract a lot of players to kind of come and access that resource node. So like a large mine that's present and has a vein of mithril ore in it, or a herd of some type of animal that you can collect fur or
Like pelts and
from.
things? That'd be well good.
Those will be then depleted and they will randomly spawn elsewhere. On the scarcity side, obviously there are going to be different tiers of gatherable resources that are higher end and will be more scarce and will require higher end tools in order to harvest. Also, you can, based off of your advancement within the gathering tree, will provide you a greater opportunity to proc more rare types of resources. Okay, from the guild-related questions. And by the way, I apologize, I can't see chat because it's a little bit...
I've never seen that in ESO, to be honest. I've never seen like mines and things.
I know that Margaret and Sarah can ping me.
The mine things basically sounds like RuneScape, but instead of the mine always staying there, it'll randomly spawn somewhere else.
Guild-related. Here we go. So let's answer the second question here. One of the, because I answered the first question on the other two, we'll answer the second question. One of the issues a guild of our size has experienced during various launches has been server lockouts, where a server population reaches critical and a decision is made to lock the server, essentially forcing a separation of the guild. Of the guild. Let's see, decision made to lock the server, essentially forcing a separation of the guild. While we understand the overwhelming loads that launches place on server infrastructure can't be predicted, at the very least, if there is a contingency plan to separate the population, will this be communicated well in advance so guilds can plan ahead? And will there be a server transfer system in place to help address this issue?
Ooh, server transfer,
So,
okay.
First of all, you know, I was a guild leader of a very large guild, very, very large guild. And, you know, I built that community up over a period of gosh, 14 years, 15 years. We had like, I think we had like 14,000 members or something on our mailing list at one point. And I did step, just to be clarified, so there's no conflict in interest, as a result of starting Intrepid and the Ashes project, I stepped down as leader and exited the guild, so there would be no conflict.
Same, Willie, same.
Question, 100%,
absolutely same.
I understand.
I think we need to predict end of 2022, Willie. Is it Willie or Wiley?
New MMO launches when those types of decisions.
We got to predict 2 years, I think.
From the company.
Mainly because, if I quickly pause it here, mainly because they say Alpha 1 is going to be towards the end of this year, so probably like November, maybe December. And they said at that point, there's going to be about 20% of the world's PvE maps, if you like, available to play. Now, is it only available to play, or has that only ever been made? Do you know what I mean? Theoretically, 50% of the world's maps could have been made, but they're going to only, right now, but they're only going to allow 20% of it to be playable in Alpha 1. We don't know. If by this December, so the end of 2020, they've only got roughly 20% so far of the PvE maps built. Yes, they're adding more developers and designers and stuff, so that should speed it up over the next 2 years, but they're only 20% of the world's maps done now. Do you know what I mean? So, realistically, I would predict, which I hate, end of 2022. That's what I would predict. Because that means I'll be fucking 30 by the time this game comes out, do you know what I mean? Which is a little bit sad.
Like to introduce that is
Willie, are you going to buy one of the packages on the website so you get access to Alpha 2?
Is allowing server reservations. And essentially this provides an opportunity for players who are parts of guilds to reserve their spots on the server. I think that will help to mitigate the differences because, well, let me just back up a second. It's almost impossible to really stop the problem that occurs when a server becomes overpopulated at launch and character registration and character creation goes too high. There's really only one recourse that can be.
Willie says, between New World and AoC Creation, these guys are blowing me. I mean, all I'm going to say is New World, completely different game altogether. That looks like it's going to have some major issues. Do you know what I mean? It's supposed to be released in May. It's now not going to be released till the middle towards the end of next year. That game has got its own issues that are completely different to this, you know? Judo says they are edging their entire community. This is not a bad thing though, right? In a way. You want to be getting... I mean, you call it edging. Probably not the safest thing to call it, but you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be like, here's all the information, and then you're like, it's a bit crap that though, isn't it? But then every time they feed you from AoC Creation, new information, you're like, oh, this sounds so good. Do you know what I mean? It's combat for me. I don't know if anybody else agrees. We need to see and play some combat to really know if this game's going to be good. Do you know what I mean? Like, the game could be sick, But if the combat is like Elder Scrolls Online, in my opinion, I don't think it will last. Or it won't last as easy it would be if it was literally... They say you can have 75% tab targeting, 25% action skills. That, to me, sounds perfect. And you can also have it the other way around, 75% action, 25... So that sounds perfect. But we need to know what it feels like and what it looks like. Do you know what I mean? You get closer and closer, but you never get there. We'll see. We'll see, Judo. We'll see.
Utilized. And that is the temporary closure of new character creation. However, I believe we can mitigate that issue by allowing what
I seen it, Willie. I seen it. It was this guy.
Slot reservations. Now, this would likely be utilized more so by guilds than that would be by solo or unaffiliated players. And I believe that, you know, the solo player, they may have friends that they want to play with. That's fine. They can also still with
True, Judo. You would miss all of them. There's gonna be pinging around the map everywhere with the charge skills.
those friends do the reservation system. But the player who is just joining the game fresh and doesn't have a community that they're a part of, I don't think they really, you know, mind in that regard, and will not utilize that system. So hopefully that mitigates some of the stuff. But let me tell you this. Obviously, you know, as we go through testing, alphas and betas and whatnot, you know, the importance of player feedback and ideas that come from the community, I can't stress enough why it is so important to spread the word for Ashes and get people who have experiences in other MMOs coming and talking to us, coming on the forum.
This is big from them.
Getting on
this
our
is
Discord,
big from them.
Getting on social media and giving feedback. It is so important. And I'm not talking about, you know, pre-ordering the game. I do not care if people pre-order the game. It doesn't affect it doesn't affect our project from a budget standpoint. You know, like I said, I'm personally funding the project to completion. So that's not the issue. The issue is having people engaged and discussing their experiences and also giving feedback on our design principles. That's what's important. You know, yeah, I can't
True,
stress
Willie,
that
true.
enough. Okay, and to be fair, by the way,
Same, Judo.
I
Same.
get a lot of messages.
My bed, the room that I stream from here, this little room that I stream from, is probably the size of this little cupboard thing here, you know? Hey, listen, the guy's a nice house. Fair play to him, you know? Man, it's a nice house.
I read a lot of the Discord, and I go on Discord often and talk with people. I jump in voice chat sometimes. I watch almost every content creator who creates content around the game when I'm like getting in bed and holding my phone up and watching, and I fall asleep and my phone hits my face sometimes. But, you know, it's my job to make sure I have a very clear and understanding of the community sentiment as well as the community's feedback. So please go and talk about your experiences and give us feedback. It's very important. Okay, next question.
All you guys in the official Asset Creation Discord as well?
Question. Have you decided yet what happens?
If you need an invite, let me know.
Okay, here we go. Draco is the king. Is Draco the king? Are you going to capture one of the castles, Draco? Hopefully, we'll see.
Give us a release date, says Willie.
I heard that the character creation should be on the level of BDO character creation. I really did love BDO's character creator. I thought it was really cool, and I thought that they did a great job in providing a lot of versatility to the player to customize the character appearance. I think the one thing I would, as a player and as a developer, kind of focus on is maybe providing a little bit more confines to the racial appearances that could be done, but I thought that they provided really cool character creator. Will it have all of that or more options, such as sliders?
Booby sliders. Does this game gonna have booby sliders?
Assuming you're referring to a specific type of slider, and I would say that yes, there will be a slider in that regard. And
100% booby sliders. That's what he's talking about. 100%.
The goal is to have a character creator on par, if not much better than what BDO provided. I really give a hats off to their developers in making that character creator. They did a great job with that. Oh, one other thing about that. I really would love to give out early our character creator, and some games have done this as well, give the character creator out early so that players can spend time making and customizing their character and then saving that character profile so that they're ready to go on day one.
Save some time when you're trying to log in on first day of the server.
Their character, and they can jump into the game very quickly. I can't tell you how many times my guild and I would be sitting in TeamSpeak or Discord or whatever, or as far as I go back, Ventrilo. And we would be just waiting for the server to go live. It's live, it's live, it's live. And people would joke and they would, they'd say it's live and everybody would freak out, and obviously they're trolling us. But the goal I know there is to get into game as quickly as possible. And having that.
Now, Forsaken popped in here in chat and says, this game is already touted as a WoW killer. For that, it's going to fail. I agree with the whole WoW killer title. Every MMO that has come out in the past 15 years that has been called a WoW killer has basically failed. Like, it literally has. Every single MMO has failed. But the good thing that I like about this game is the community of this game and the developers themselves aren't trying to kill WoW. You can have a fucking great game that can live alongside WoW. Maybe it'll take a chunk of the numbers away from it. But the problem is with WoW is, if you're a hardcore WoW player, if you're one of those 3 million subscribers that they've still got left now, which is still a huge amount, by the way. It's not the 10 million that they had years ago, but still a huge amount. But if you're one of those 3 million subscribers, the likelihood is you're never going to stop playing World of Warcraft, but you may play another game as well. This could/should be the game. If it's delivered what they're expecting and what they say, this is the game that you play alongside WoW. And for X amount of people, they may finally stop playing WoW because they've now found another game that they can play that's worth it. See, because in the past, so many of the games have been really, really poor. People would leave WoW to go and join this brand new MMO. Turns out to be a bit shit, then they go back to WoW. If this isn't a bit shit, do you know what I mean? Which doesn't sound like it is. This could be the game that takes, a couple 100,000, maybe 1 million or 2 away from WoW. But don't try and aim to beat WoW, because I don't think any game ever will.
An important one.
Unless they completely ruin it themselves.
Okay, question from Efren and Verde. About the inventory system. How limited will it be, and will there be ways to enhance the capacity? Also, what advantages does sending a caravan get over just coordinating a bunch of people to fill their inventories with materials and run to the goal? Well, okay.
Willie Dilly, cheers for the follow.
The initial capacity will be relatively limited. However, there will be specific items that can be achieved within the game based off of the progression of the node system, as well as certain quest lines that can be utilized to grant inventory slot expansions.
So standard then, you get bigger bags the further you get into the game.
To note that because the inventory does include sections that are relevant both to quest items, the quest items will not fill your non-quest item capacity.
Yes,
one thing
what we're talking about.
Hate about some games is where you'll have quest items that fill your inventory capacity that's non-quest items. So that is one thing I will say.
Huge fan of that.
And then the second thing is it's important to note that you will so the capacity that a character can have.
Exactly, Will. You can play both.
Raw gatherables or processed materials can also be expanded up to a point. Additionally, you will have a certain type of mule that can be utilized to carry additional goods that you can summon if you're going to, gatherables, if you can summon that and take that back to the warehouse depository.
Okay,
but essentially, to answer your question with regards to caravans have multiple applications. It's not just about transiting your goods per se. You could potentially.
A lot of this game is about the gatherables and whether you can not lose a small chunk of them.
A number of friends kind of moving goods through the world.
Or whether you can gain goods
at that point, you have to realize
from other players by stealing their caravans and stuff like that.
And the capacity to do so, you would need a lot of friends to match the capacity that the caravan has. Also, caravans provide an ancillary benefit to just the transit of goods. There are quest systems related to successfully completing trade routes. There are non-player driven caravans that can be utilized by the towns to establish trade relations with other nodes that require escort duties. There's potential returns on transiting the goods you have to a node that has initiated a quest or a public works project for raw gatherables in order to complete certain infrastructures, and you may want to do that in exchange for a different type of resources. So there's a lot of unique benefits that are housed within the caravan
so
system
you've gone and got a load of wolf pelts, but really you want iron ore. But this new builder needs a lot of wolf pelts, so you can give in your wolf pelts in exchange for some iron ore, for example. Really basic, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty good.
From Jakuta.
I could get players working together.
Stephen. Good afternoon, Jakuta. I hope you're having a great day, my friend. As we come closer to Alpha 1 and eventually Alpha 2, will we start to see more about the archetypes and the augment schools for each second archetype? Absolutely. So there's two components to this question. One is we want to vet a lot of the design ideas, right, behind player feedback. That's what's so important. And on the flip side, we want to do so in a way that's structured as a rollout as we get into alphas and betas. It's important that that information gets distributed to the players, but it's also important that we don't ruin the discovery feeling that happens with a new MMORPG. As I've said in the past, transparency is a double-edged sword. On one side of that sword, at least when it comes to vetting our designs and being transparent with the development of the game, one of the sides of that is we ruin the discovery experience. I saw a former designer from Blizzard. He did a review of Peon's video, which big shout out to Peon, to Lex, and
we've done one of those videos.
Unknown for helping with that video, but. The designer
great
said,
video
at the end,
the
he's
lazy
I'm very excited for this, and I believe he was one of the original designers for World of Warcraft. It was great to hear him say he was excited for this, but he also said, I almost don't want to watch any more of the development because I don't want to ruin the launch for myself. And we have to be cognizant of that. It is an important point.
Fair enough, Benjamin.
While on one side of the sword, we want to vet our ideas. On the other side of the sword, we also don't want to ruin the experience for players. Now, alphas and betas, because we're not putting NDAs behind them, yes, that does speak with regards to confidence in the product. I do have
That's what I'm excited about. I can't get into Alpha 1, sadly, but I can get into Alpha 2 when hopefully in a couple of weeks we buy the $250 package, you know what I mean? But I cannot wait to play and stream this game. Cannot wait.
It does give us more confidence, and that is great. But at the same time, one thing we're doing from a lore perspective is not really revealing any of that lore, especially in the alpha phases. Now, as we get into the beta, it's going to be necessary that those quest lines are implemented and they're going to have, the actual stories behind it. But in the alphas, some of that stuff is going to be sort of placeholder, and we're okay with that. So, yeah, sorry. I'm very long-winded, in case you couldn't tell.
Here's the host, Benjamin.
I apologize for that. There's just a lot of thoughts, that are up here about the games, the designs. So bear with me. Yeah. Margaret reminds me often that I need to move quickly through the questions.
He's doing a good job answering them because he's not giving you like BS answers. He's giving you full-blown answers. So if you want more information, you're kind of getting it, right?
On Wembley. Maybe it will be on Wembley still. Let's take a look. Oh, nope. Oh, there I am as Thanos in a meme. Yay. I don't want to kill anybody. Unless they have something I need. No, sorry. Okay, Wembley. Let's see.
What?
I don't know where you are, Wembley. I apologize. Okay, here we go. Question from the Clo. Hey, Steve. Whoops, I probably shouldn't put that in front of the mic. Hey, Steve, how is it going? It's going well, Clo. Thank you for asking. My question is there a chance that the monthly subscription fee will be adjusted to other countries? I am from Brazil.
Somebody asked me about this the other day. $15 was a lot to them.
Hello from the United States. WoW costs USD $14.99, and that would cost the Brazilian currency $77 exchange for us. But for us, the price is adjusted, and we pay a $28, which is a $5 fee. So yes, that's called price harmonization. That's pretty standard in the industry when it comes to essentially a part of the localization process and distribution process in foreign territories, and I say foreign with regards to the United States, to harmonize the price for those territories.
That's good.
That is something that we will be doing with Ashes of Creation with regards to the subscription fee specifically. However, it's important to note that price harmonization will only occur when the servers are segregated from different territory servers.
Forsaken, no. So they've already explained then, so not in this AMA directly, but in previous videos that maybe you've missed. So the game, when it's released, you don't pay for the box, right? You don't pay the $50, $60, $70 to own the game, right? And then on top of that, subscribe for $15 a month, right? No, that's not what this game will be. The game will be free to fully download and install, and then you only ever pay when you want to play it. So you pay your $14.99 or pounds, whatever, per month. So just like WoW, you pay $14.99 per month to play it, which is, you know, standard for a good MMO to pay monthly. That's fine. It's been like that for the past 20 years. But you don't pay for the box, and you don't, every time there's an upgrade as well, like a new DLC, you don't pay for that either. So you don't pay another $30, $40 every year or two to, you know, up your, you know, your expansions.
So for example, a Brazilian player, if they were a subscription based, they would have to pay that Harmony price for the Brazilian servers.
Green GB, no, sadly not. It's in development at the moment. Alpha 1 is due in the next month or two. And then Alpha 2, which is what I'm hoping to buy into, well, I'm hoping it's sometime next year, early next year. Maybe 18 months for release, maybe?
For sieges
maybe 2 years?
Depending on the race. For example, the Dunir look to have more fortified locations. Absolutely they do. Then the Nakua. You know, the Nakua really need to get on top of that. So would it be harder to assault a Dunir city rather than a Nakua city? So the defensive capabilities of cities from a design perspective cannot really take into account the race. That would be an unbalanced feature and would create likely an imbalanced population skew for the servers with regards to race. What that means is essentially settlements have a standardized siege process, and their defensive capabilities are almost wholly determined by the direction that those citizens take with the election.
So how much you fortify your own base.
The election process of the mayor, who has the ability to direct treasury funds generated through taxation and or completed quests that are initiated by
we're going to get taxed in this game.
Town.
I kind of like that idea, but I also kind of like, wait, what?
Into defensive capabilities or growth capabilities. Essentially, that's a direction that has to be determined by the community itself. Now, if you're going to elect to spend those treasury funds on defensive things, you're going to lose out on the growth things, but you'll be a stronger city to withstand assault if necessary. And if you elect to grow your city more, you will likely lose out on the ability to direct funds towards the defensive structures, such as strengthening the walls or the gates, or having defensive traps available, having defensive siege equipment upon the barricades, the ramparts, having another big thing is the reliquary. The reliquary is essentially a status symbol of achievements that the citizens have. Some of those can be utilized as area of effect buffs that are granted when deployed during sieges as well.
Okay.
That's another important aspect of.
We need to see this. We need to see this in some kind of like live stream and play it. That's what we need.
Corrupt cactus. How does a cactus get corrupt? That's a good question. Okay, so hey guys, super excited to see this project develop, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you. I do have a few questions, but I would also like to give my opinion on some topics. Okay, well, let's do the question. Okay, who gets the drop from world bosses? So essentially, when a raid is formed, the leader of the raid that is in charge or formed the raid has the opportunity to set loot distribution settings. And that can be
Best not be no greedy raiders
of available options, including specific loot master, And essentially, they're going to determine how that works. Now, if you have two competing raids, that's going to be done essentially off of a tag and DPS system. So tagging the target will grant a slight benefit to DPS done, and then a DPS against the target is going to determine the looting rights.
Whoa, so two raids are both going for an end boss, world boss.
Target,
one raid does more damage than the other. They get the rewards, the other raid doesn't.
Or, you know, some plurality thereof to achieve looting rights.
Per Kelly, what's that got to do with anything?
60% of the damage done. In order.
Guy looks like he has a nice house.
It's always difficult to come up with a good loot system that is, you know, is fair and addresses all kind of situations. So that's a particular topic that I love to get feedback from other MMO players, and you know, get your guys' ideas on those things as well. That's a great topic to get ideas from. Okay, I'm just going to stop it at that question because I see it's a very long post. Okay, here we go. Next question. The pie face. Hey, I have 4 questions. All right, well, let's take the first one. Anytime I look up the combat in this game, I end up with footage of the Battle Royale Apocalypse mode. Is the combat in Apocalypse the same as the action combat in the MMO? Okay, so to give some clarity on the Battle Royale mode,
we streamed a little bit of this, but it was out.
New and want to kind of understand what was the reason for the direction of the Battle Royale. Essentially, what we're trying to create in Ashes of Creation is a hybrid system of action and tab targeting. Now, obviously, they have very different tempos and speed, and it is difficult to mirror what feels like a comfortable pace for those two very different types of combat. Early on, and I'm talking like 2017, we got a lot of feedback from the community when it comes to combat, and rightfully so. I mean, combat is the most tactile component of an MMORPG. It's what you really, you know, aside from the systems and mechanics, combat is what you must get right. It must feel good. It must be fluid. It must be mobile. You know,
if it's bad, people will stop playing the game because of that, and that only.
Important component of a successful MMORPG experience, and it's a very iterative process. One of the most iterative processes when it comes to developing a game. And the feedback we got very early on in the project was that, hey, this combat is not fluid. Hey, this combat, you know, doesn't feel good. And we needed to really test how to implement action combat and get metrics on essentially projectile data, you know, hit scan data, hit boxes, you know, area of effects, templated types of attacks. Those are all, you know, components that we wanted to collect data on, in addition to vetting the back-end systems that we had developed, from the matchmaker to the concurrencies, to the net relevancy and number of players that the server can manage, to the, you know, culling and rendering algorithms, you know, the optimization of our environment and terrain, the optimization of our character appearances. All of those are pretty fundamental that really we wanted to vet early on. So a Battle Royale is a very easy mode to create. It doesn't really take a lot.
I didn't mind playing the Battle Royale mode. I didn't mind it. It was okay.
But it does provide a testing ground to kind of.
It was all right. Do you know what I mean? Just to get a little feel.
You know, we went down that road to test those things, and luckily we did, because we found a lot of systems and a lot of backend stuff that we needed to rework. You know, it would have been far more difficult had we waited until the alpha phase of the MMO to rebuild some of those fundamental back-end tech. So
I think it definitely confused people, though. That is fair.
You're seeing the combat in Apocalypse and how that will differ significantly from the combat within Ashes of Creation is because it is a purely action-oriented. That was the system we wanted to test in its purity. So it is going to be representative of a pure action type system, which is not going to be wholly representative of the hybrid type combat that we want to have in the MMORPG. Now, Alpha 1 will contain that hybrid type system, a very bare bones and early iteration of it, And through the data we collect by our players participating and giving feedback and watching the design metrics and the backlogs, we will utilize that to change. Now, one thing I'm going to say, and I'll actually reiterate this at the end as well. Game development is very difficult, very difficult.
That's why I think it's so good that they're bringing out an Alpha 1, 2, Beta 1, 2. Do you know what I mean? If they're going to give us long enough to try this game, then hopefully they're going to have long enough to fix bits and bobs that they don't like.
As Ashes of Creation is. Now, the more difficult the development process, the more patience necessary on the side of the fans and the community. You know, we're doing this.
But we have to be patient. This game isn't due out for maybe 2 years. We have to be patient.
But part of that
we have no choice.
Is an expectation
Sadly.
on behalf of the players, not only to give feedback, but also
you can't even pay to win to get this game released quicker.
What I will say is, as a commitment from the development side, we're not going to go down the path of scope creep. I have a very, very, very clear vision of all of the systems, designs, mechanics that are present within the game, and we're sticking to that vision. And we're not adding additional features and prolonging.
Good. If you have the right idea for the game
creep,
now,
as we may have seen
get it. You know, get that game out.
No,
unlike New World, by the way, New World is basically completely changing its scope. That's why it's not been released now. It's getting released next year.
That is a commitment we make. So in exchange for that patience, we promise not to incorporate that scope creep. Okay.
That's what we like.
Mike E.G. says, "Hey Stephen, thanks for doing this AMA. Thank you for participating, friend. As well as doing the interviews with Summit and Asmongold recently. I really enjoyed those interviews.
They were good, boys. They were good. You've not seen those?
No idea.
They're on YouTube.
They were going to review the.
There's Asmongold, there's Shroud and Summit in the same one, and one with Tim the Tapman a couple of days ago. They're pretty good, you know. Pretty good.
In seizing the day, the Carpe Diem idea, and you know, I am unabashed in reaching out to people and letting them know, hey, if you're interested, I would love to discuss things. You know, it's Ashes of Creation is my life at the moment. So, you know, who doesn't love talking about their passion in life? With that
you did a good job. You did a good job. It definitely helped build the hype.
And I appreciated very much the time that those streamers and other streamers who have a very large audience that have the capability of giving feedback have to say. They really have increased my excitement for the game, and I've been following for a long time. Cool. Regarding open world PvP, will a player's health and level be a mystery to me before I engage in a fight? Follow up. So first of all, the level will not be a mystery. The level will be known by targeting the player.
Okay.
The health pool, however, unless you are in a party or a raid or a guild, you will not be able to see the health pool of the target. Instead, that will be somewhat obfuscated.
When PvP, that's fine.
When you target the character, their nameplate will have a quality. And based on the loss of health percentage-wise, that nameplate will start to degrade. And you
wait, so you don't even get to see a health bar?
The damage and/or status condition of the target, but you will
no health bar at all.
Granular data that tells you exactly what their health pool is. I
really?
think that's a very important component.
Okay, interesting. I've never seen a game like that before. You always get a health bar. You might not be able to see the figures, but you can see a health bar.
Condition of players. I think that makes things more interesting, and I think that it is going to be a very fun component when it comes to PvP.
I mean, possibly, you know, possibly.
Question. I heard leveling will take some time. I like this a lot. I do too. I think that it's important to have systems in place that. It's important to have systems in place.
For anybody actually in and chatting away and stuff, what do you guys think about that? Let me just change this up for a second. I'm just going to come away from the AMA for like 10 seconds. I quickly upload a thumbnail to something. Right, guys, what do you think? Hey, guys, honestly, what do you think? When you go into PvP, you're not going to be able to see a health bar at all. From what that just read, okay? No health bar. Is that okay? I mean... What time did I schedule this for, by the way? I've got another video out. One that we recorded yesterday. I've got another video out. I just needed to upload thumbnail to it because I forgot. Oh no, sorry, I didn't have the thumbnail made until now. So let me just it's the thumbnail. such a bad image of me. But as I don't like posing for the thumbnails, Nick gets them from stills from the stream. Let me just call it LiamH or something. I don't know, it doesn't really matter what we call it. And they don't look great. It makes me look really bad. Alexian, how's it going? We're just watching the AMA, you know, from a couple days ago. But now that I just had a thumbnail sent to me, I've got another video from another watch along we were watching, the dev stream yesterday. I've got that going up on YouTube. It's scheduled to go out on YouTube soon. So I just needed to where are we? I just needed to change the thumbnail on it. How do I change the thumbnail on this now? We got it ready. That's all in and ready. And then we're going to go back to it. We're going to go back into that there though. Alexian, thank you very much for that. I've been hopping Ash's streams. Nice to meet you. I know, I appreciate it. We've been doing a couple now. All the latest content and sort of like reveals that they bring out and AMAs and all that kind of stuff. I've been watching along with them. Do you know what I mean? Because they're really good. Like I said, we're going through this one now. You know, the AMA from a couple days ago. Well, it's probably like 5-6 days ago now. Going through that one, and then I'll snip it up and put it up on YouTube later on. But I'm being a little bit daft right now. I don't know how to find why can't I change the thumbnail on this? I've got the new thumbnail. Oh, here it is. That's why it's down here. It's moved. Let me just pop the new thumbnail on here and save. That video is due out in an hour or two, I think. Literally one image. Changes saved. Okay, beautiful. When did I... Let me double check. When did I have this one ready to go? Videos. That one's not scheduled just yet. I think it's scheduled for it's either 4 p.m, which is in like just over half an hour, or 6 p.m. I can't remember. Let me see. Scheduled. When is it scheduled for? Remember. So how long have you been on the hype train for Ashes? I've known about Ashes since 2018. It popped up on one, you know, one of those YouTube videos. In fact, we'll leave that off now. It popped up on one of those YouTube videos, you know, like the generic ones, like 10 MMOs to look out for in the future, right? And there was loads of MMOs on there. Some of them looked okay, some of them looked really, really poor. Like kind of like alpha state MMOs and stuff like that. But again, the one thing that I noticed about this one was the node system. That was already described back then. That was one of the biggest things I remember seeing. It wasn't the graphics, it wasn't the gameplay, because obviously back in 2018 there wasn't a lot sort of like out there in terms of like media to view. Do you know what I mean? But I remember the node system. I was like, wait, what? You get to contribute on how the land and the map, because it wasn't as described as well as it is now. It was just roughly described, but you get to contribute to that. You get to level it up by, you know, so you just like, what? There's no MMO out there. That's what instantly got me like, ooh, what is this game? Do you know what I mean? But then now that all the more stuff's coming out, I'm getting really, really excited. Really excited. But like some of the other people who were in the chat earlier on who were talking about it, the only frustrating thing is we have to wait so long, you know? Yeah, okay, so Alexian, another big thing for me is so let's say you want to play 5 or 6 different classes all on the same server, for example. When you start in the different zones and stuff, or even if you have like say 1 character per server, when you start going through the game, it's going to look completely different. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, just you Proven Frog, refresh the stream, it'll come back. It's going to look completely different. The quest line is going to be different. The towns and cities you can go to are going to be different. Normally you always go through the same linear system, right? So if you're one class, you're, you know, I'm trying to think, whatever, you know, you're World of Warcraft, you go a human alliance player, you go through the same, unless you 1 or 2 that you can switch up, you go through the exact same leveling zones all the way up until end game, right? You do the same dungeons along the way, everything's the same. This game, theoretically, unless everybody decides to build on the exact same node, which would just be unlucky, everywhere's going to look different. It's going to be so different. It's going to be so fresh to look at, you know?
Degrees of progression difficulty. And with the adventuring class, I feel comfortable that a time
it'll make re-rolling new characters and playing the game again. It'll make you want to play the game again because you're going to get something different.
Significant. The question asks, what power difference can we expect to see with a small level gap, say 2 to 4 levels? Particularly for PvP, will power difference be more reliant on gear or levels as we level up? I would say that the power difference is going to be somewhat equal between gear and
built-in replayability, yeah.
One thing I cannot stand about MMOs is that they apply a dampener to damage done or abilities if a target is outside of a certain level range.
Yeah, I agree with this.
Both PvE
If somebody's if you've got a skill that does 1,000 damage,
if I have a skill that does 1,000 damage to a target of equal level, I don't want my skill
I'm out.
to
That was
do
weird as
damage
fuck.
to a target
That
that's
was
5
weird.
levels above me.
That was weird.
I like
That was
the
weird.
idea of
Don't do that ever again.
batting outside of my weight class. I think that's a cool
That was
achievement
weird.
factor. It gives
That
me
was very weird.
motivation to try more difficult things. When I play,
Never mind. I'm not going to explain what I was going to say.
RPGs, I love Iron Mode. I think Iron Mode is awesome.
Very strange.
I think it's awesome because there's real.
I was going to say, if I had a skill that does 1,000 damage, but some guy's hitting me who's 5 levels higher than me, and I'm only doing like 300 damage, that's annoying, right? It's annoying.
To essentially your experience as an MMO player within a world that is, fraught with danger and mysterious in what lies behind this corner. And if you're going to take that risk, you should be able to perform at the right capacity and reap a reward.
True. If you're a high level trying to gank lower levels, you should be winning anyway. So therefore, the lower levels should have that little bit of a help,
Arthian, you want to make travel matter, you want travel to matter. Sorry, I was making sure that I wasn't being told something on Slack. Let me just make sure that everything's fine with the stream. Okay, looks good. Okay, you want travel to matter, but you also mentioned that you'll have a family fast travel system. Doesn't traveling matter go out the window when players set up family links with their guild? So again, families are, let me read the last part of that. What system will be in place to prevent this? Yes. So it's important to note that there's a cooldown period between a person leaving a family and joining another family, and that period is in the matter of days. That's the first thing. Second of all, the summon system is contained wholly within the family unit. So for example, if I have a family size that's possible of 8 members, the same as a party size, and I want to summon one of them and they summon the others, right? My party can, make it to dungeons and PvE content relatively quickly.
So you just have a runner to each dungeon?
I won't be able to then summon someone else in the guild who's a part of another family, right? So they'll have to either have a representative that's present there as well. The idea behind fast travel not being prevalent in Ashes is it's a mitigating factor to the Zerg mentality.
True.
So essentially, in games I've played, where you can open a portal and everybody can jump through the portal together, it becomes very difficult for players through the use of subterfuge to avoid Zergs. And that's because if they get wind of something, or somebody sees it, or they have an alt logged out, or whatever, they can very quickly open a portal and get everybody, together and then port out and, stomp on your fun. Now, that's not to say that political intrigue will not play an important role. If I have a spy in a guild, and I know that guild is running essentially a trade run through the caravan system, and I know the time, place, and numbers, then I could set up a trap. I could set up my people to move to that location. It'll take some time. We want it to take some time. We don't want the ability of a Zerg to quickly port places. The family summon feature addresses the concern of players being able to log on and go with their party to complete PvE content, but also provides a mitigating factor to the mobility of large groups of people. So
yeah, you log on, your mate ran, a 25-minute run in one direction. You don't have to waste 25 minutes to catch him. If you're in the same family, he can port you.
Systems apart.
I like that. That's a good balance. I like that.
And post on our forums or Reddit. I enjoy.
You could still Zerg 8 though. You could still Zerg up to 8. You know.
Question from Adversary GG. Because of the cooldown after a successful siege defense, false flagging could become a viable strategy. Okay, so real quick, with regards to the sieges of nodes, anyone may participate in that siege, which means, as long as you're not a citizen of the node or an alliance member, a citizen of an allied node, anybody can come up and participate. The idea behind a false flag is, let's say I want to undertake the quest process, which is substantial, So from a resource standpoint, you will have to invest significantly in attaining the siege scroll. And then if you lay down that declaration with the intent of not having an organized group of people, I'm not sure you're really mitigating the false flag there. Because let's say there were a group of people who wanted to siege, and you beat them
go and get involved
laying
instead.
the declaration down. You can't exclude them. They can still come and participate in the siege. So it's not really going to be capable. And if there wasn't a group of people who wanted to siege, then you're not really false flagging it.
Hang on. So if your metropolis has an ongoing war, so Metropolis A has an ongoing feud with Metropolis B, right? They hate each other. Metropolis A, even though they don't really have enough players to go and attack Metropolis B, they can still lay down a siege declaration, and then somehow, unless they're already allied, go and ask Metropolis C, D, and E on the same server, hey, listen, you know, we're gonna go attack these. You want to join in? You want to go help us? You want to go take down Metropolis B? You know what I mean? So, okay, I kind of like that. It's not just, do I like that? Do I like that? Actually, hang on, let me think about it again, because if A and B are fighting with each other, A launches down a siege on B. Yo, Nox, welcome in, man. Am I playing Ashes of Creation? I wish. If Metropolis A launches down a siege on Metropolis B, but then C, D, and E Metropolises, I'm just calling them that to differentiate them because there's 5 per server, right? They can all come and join in and just wipe out B. Yeah, it sounds like defending could. Well, okay, so this is what I also need to know. Where they said it's going to be 250 versus 250 on the like castle sieges and stuff. Is that a maximum? So are you going to get so close to the start of the castle or the start of the metropolis, and then you're locked out? You can't get in because there's 250 people already attacking. When one of them logs out, somebody else can go in. How does that work out? Who are the 250 people? How do you become one of the 250 people? What if Alexion, so A versus B, A has put down the declare of a siege against B, but 250 people from C, who are secretly allianced with B, just not officially, they somehow managed to enter the attack first as the 250 attackers, but then they decide to just not attack. They've taken up the 250 slots and be like, wait, that means B is going to be able to successfully defend, because C is now taking up all the attacking slots, but they're just not going to attack. They're going to share the spoils of defending. I presume you get some kind of rewards for successfully defending, right? Is that something that can happen? You know what I mean? Shit, I need to write this down, because that could be a really good question to try and ask next time I do one of these AMAs. You know what I mean? Yes, B must open an invite for C players. Well, Athos, the way they said it then is anybody can get involved unless you're allianced, right? So let's say, for example, okay, let's say A is allianced with C. They're friends, right? So C can get involved with A and attack B. But what if A and B don't like each other, but nobody's officially allianced? A, B, C, D, and E aren't allianced. Does that mean that C, D, and E can all come in and fight against B because A has opened up an attack on B? Or is it just a maximum of 250 at a time? Therefore, no matter what, it's still only going to be a 250 v 250 battle. You know what I mean? You're not going to have 4v1 if nobody's allianced. But then again, how do you decide who's in the 250? If A has 400 people in their node and they attack B, but only 250, if it's only 250 are allowed to attack at any one point because of like a maximum to the siege, how do you decide who's in the 250? Is it 250 people to press now fastest when it pops up to attack? You know? So you're worried that C, non-alliance, could come in and just take an E? Yes, Alexian. Exactly. If nobody is officially allianced, but secretly B and C are allianced, I want to know, could 250 C Metropolis, or C Metropolis we'll call them, could they come in and take those 250 attacking slots just by virtue of getting there quicker or whatever, or clicking a button quicker if it's join siege, and then they port in? So it's 250 versus 250, but most of them are C players. They just start to go, we're not going to attack because secretly we've got an alliance with B, B will defend. They'll earn some kind of rewards. They're going to share some of the rewards with us. A gets fucked over, and technically they got a defeat even though they didn't get to fight. Discord alliance, oh man, yeah, that could be very possible. But that's what I'm trying to say. It could be possible, but then what is the system in place to stop that from happening, or will that not happen? Do you know what I mean? Because then it'll become very Game of Thronesy, which I still like, by the way. I still like that this could happen. I still like that you could be 250 versus 250, but then all of a sudden there's well, unless it won't allow you because you're technically in the attacking team, you can no longer attack your attacking members. I don't know, your fellow attackees, but basically half your team could just stand there and be like, yeah, we're from C, bro. We're not attacking. We just came here to take the slots, you know? 50 multi-boxes with 5 wizards on each side. Because, I mean, I don't know, Athos, you know? That's something I would really, really like to know. If we could clip this, by the way, can we clip that? I don't know whether that actually clipped it. I just pressed the clip this button for this question, but I don't know if that clipped it. But anyway, let's continue watching. But that's something I would really like to know.
Anything. And you're actually opening the door for people who may not have been interested prior after having done most of the legwork. So I don't think that that is going to be a false flag type situation. Okay. Let us do Geist 1337. You know, I used to live in, I grew up a little bit in Indiana, and I lived in a place called Geist. It was very interesting, outside of Indianapolis. And then I moved back to California. Born in San Diego, came back to California after that. Little side note. So to give context to the question and what I pray the answer will be, I want to preface it by saying I'm a huge fan of necromancy. I think necromancy is cool as well. You know, necromancy is going to be pretty cool. Undead way, but like well, I guess mostly in an undead way. Specifically,
guys, quick one in chat, by the way. Alexian and stuff like Alexian, Willie, Papa J's. I know you guys are new today. There is my latest YouTube video, by the way, on Ashes of Creations. Kind of like one of these watch-alongs. It's not as well set out as this. That was the first one I did. This one's a little bit more better set out. Do you know what I mean? We've got all of our screens set up and stuff. If you'd like to check out my YouTube channel, maybe drop a cheeky like on the video, maybe even sub, you know, because we're going to do a lot more of this in future, and then obviously live stream the game when it's possible. But there's a link there in chat, guys. If you want to check that out, feel free.
The raising of fallen enemies as your personal undead. Because of that, I've played the class in
Cheers, Alexian. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Like I said, there's another video going out in either 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. I can't remember.
The raising of fallen enemies.
And then this video will go out tomorrow.
It has been available with the pinnacles of this style of necromancy, being those from Diablo 2 and Path of Exile. This given that minions in these games are relatively strong, albeit balanced, when comparing to the classes numerous within reason, and most importantly, permanent until the player's defeat or their destruction.
Anybody ever play Guild Wars?
And so the question is, does the philosophy behind necromancy class match this going in?
Because necromancy class was like that.
Importantly than anything else.
You'd kill, say, 10 mobs. You would rise 10 mobs to be your allies, but their health would constantly be decreasing.
First of all,
and then they just die.
Summoning works is players have active abilities as a summoner to summon a particular type of summon. And those types of summons that you can summon will be adherent to the Trinity class system. So you will have a more tank-oriented type summon available to you, as well as a more support-oriented type summon. And
even a healer
type summon.
You could get a healer summon as a necromancer to heal you. What?
To use at any given, you
could be running around with an army of 10 NPC mobs as your healers.
As you apply the cleric secondary class and have available to your summon class active skills the augment of life or death, you're going to radically change the type of summon that you can have for each of those roles. And that's going to take on, obviously, the subtype undead. So skeletons, zombies, and a more different horror type undead.
Okay, so you get different mob types, okay, okay.
So when you make the summon, it is not timed. It will exist until it dies, or you log off, or you summon a different creature. And then your abilities as a summoner are really going to go
if you're running around
either you can kind of choose
PvE locations and you want a random PvP 1v1 versus a necromancer, you could have like 6 or 7 NPC mobs with them, then you got to kill all them at the same time.
Certain types of abilities.
Wait, ain't nobody gonna fuck with a necromancer
based off the skill cast.
1v1 PvP.
You will have more complementary type active skills that you can cast on the target and will synergize with the summons abilities as well. And your decision as a summoner to allocate skill points will be, you know, obviously your choice. But that's to give more information on the Necromancer's side. Okay.
I've never really liked playing Necromancers.
Let us do.
I'm more of a mage.
Oh, wow, it's 110. Okay.
Slash hunter, you know?
We'll do another. Wow, this went by quickly. I think we'll do. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I don't know.
Well, how does it work on WoW, Alexion, with Necromancers?
Solo streams. I think this is my first one. I apologize if I'm boring you to death.
We're not boring us. You're giving us all the information
banter and
we really want.
Either a co-host or an interviewer.
I now have a genuine own question, AMA question for myself. I'm going to try and submit somehow.
Asks, the augment system is a key component of character progression and the driving force behind the selection of one's secondary archetype. Yes, that is true. Though some examples have been given, notably
just one thing. Yeah.
Many in the community are still confused as to the significance of this choice. Interpretations range from each of the 64 classes entirely unique to augments and therefore secondary archetypes as a whole, impacting only the flavor. Well, I wouldn't say that that's true. Let's take, for example, let me finish, I guess, the question. Could you clarify the impact of the secondary archetype on your play experience and the distraction it offers between the players and shares? Okay, so let's take the fighter example as an example. So if you were to apply, I guess I was talking, what did I say about the fighter? What was it, rush? Oh yeah, the rush and the teleport or elemental, whatever. Let's say you take the teleportation augment and you apply it to the rush skill.
True, Alexion, true. It's a very nice house. Very nice house.
X time to travel X distance, all right? So you would be dependent on your speed, and during that time, with the speed of reaching your target, and just to clarify, I'm sorry, so sorry. Let me rephrase. I'm gonna recount what the example was. The fighter has a rush active skill that allows them to charge X distance over time upon reaching.
Really, Alexion? Nice.
Damage
nice.
And some condition modifier. Okay. And to be clear, by the way, active skills have different stages of skill allocation. So that initial rush skill may only require, 10 skill points to have that available, and then you can continue to feed it skill points to unlock a second and third stage that either can increase damage done, can increase the speed traveled, whatever. So with that example, if you apply a teleport augment to the fighter's rush skill, instead of charging X distance over time, you immediately teleport to the target and you deal the X damage and condition modifier. So to clarify this question, it says it changes the flavor. That's not entirely accurate. So the design behind augments is to not just change the flavor so that it reflects the secondary archetype, but it also fundamentally changes the core components of a skill.
True, you can teleport through walls. Alexion, okay, so maybe you can, but only if you go fighter, secondary class mage, or some form of mage, right? That way, your charge, because you're mage and you have like spell abilities, the charge can then go through walls, but only if you're fighter slash mage. Does that make sense? Ooh. Yeah. Because that would be sick. That would, do you know what I mean? That would be sick. That way it's noticeably different than a physical rush. I could see that. No, exactly. So like he's trying to say here, he's trying to say that when you go, so fighter slash mage, fighter slash ranger, fighter slash cleric, it's not just going to change a little bit of a flavor of your class. It's going to be a genuine different class, depending on how well you can play it and stuff like that, and which sort of, that would make sense, But I would say mage first, then fighter mage. Oh, I mean, okay, yeah, Alexion, whichever one. Well, no, because no, it wouldn't Alexion. If you were mage first, fighter second, would you have a rush fighting skill? You'll still be mage, you'll still probably be on cloth, you'll still probably be fighting further back. Maybe it'll just give you some physical mage skills as well, or something on those lines. Whereas if you were fighter first, which would give you all the fighter skills, like the charge, you would only charge with heavy armor. You wouldn't charge with light armor. So it wouldn't be mage fighter, it would be fighter mage. But the difference is if you have mage in there as well, you could maybe have some kind of elemental sort of like magicka ability, which allows you to charge through a tree or through a wall. That would make sense. I get that. Yeah.
So
Exactly, Alexion.
When
Yeah.
you're charging towards a target, there's a lot of things that can happen during that time. You can be interrupted through a CC effect. There can be a battlefield wall that's deployed. The target can go invisible. The target could teleport away. You could be charging him for a period of time as he runs away from you, leading you into other opponents. You know, that's a very susceptible state to be in a rush situation. Now, if you apply the teleport, that's just not flavor. You have completely removed all of those potential effects from occurring during the charge. And you instantly teleport to the target. That's a significant vertical power increase on the skill. So, you know, the idea behind the secondary augment system is to provide that ability to move the dial between what your classic archetype's role is in the Trinity system, and it does so by radically changing the core components of an ability.
Yeah, election, all that kind of things we probably only find out in Alpha 1 or Alpha 2 for me. Do you know what I mean? When we actually get hands on.
Okay, we answered that one. Next question. Okay. So, question from T2XS. Good afternoon, Stephen. Good afternoon.
Absolutely. Election, did you invest in Election, did you invest in this game back in 2018? Like, I knew about this game back in 2018, but obviously when you first hear about a game and it's like $250, $375, whatever it is, back then it was just way too much money for me to try and invest to be able to play Alpha 1. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to be able to play Alpha 1 now. I'm going to buy the $250 package. Do you know what I mean? Sao Bizarro, thank you very much for the follow. But obviously back then I didn't even know about it enough to be able to invest the money in it. Do you know what I mean? So where are you on? You got the Leader of Men edition. Does that get you in now? It was 1K. Fair play, Alexion. Well, in that case, Alexion, do you stream, Alexion? Do you stream or YouTube videos or anything? Can I watch you play this game in Alpha 1, please? You're going to? Okay. Well, Alexion, stick around my streams and stuff between now and then hit me up when you're about to, whenever Alpha 1 is, and I'll come in and I'll watch you play it. I will watch people like Asmongold play it because I would love to see his opinion on the game. But I'd also like somebody that I can, you know what I mean, have like a direct conversation with. You know what I mean, like you, for example. But that'd be cool. I'd like to see you watch you play this game.
Refreshing to see how much excitement and dedication you have had for Ashes since I have started following it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm very excited for the project, and I'm incredibly dedicated, not to mention that I am pouring a small fortune into the development of the game, and that definitely has the ability to make someone dedicated. But in addition, I'm just an enthusiastic MMORPG player, and I'm really driven to see something that I think reflects the sentiment of the community when it comes to creating a game. Yes. I can't help but look forward to the alpha in the next few months. Thank you. We cannot help either. For my question, I'd like to know a little more about the questing. Will there be a cross-node quest? Will there be cross-node quests? Yes, there will be cross-node quests.
I played Apocalypse, yeah.
Those
I actually kind of enjoyed it. It's a bit weird, but I did enjoy it.
More so when relationships get developed between different nodes. So one of the benefits to establishing alliances or relationships between nodes is that it activates quest lines that only the citizens of those two nodes can participate.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is so good. This is going to make playing the game so fresh. You know what I mean? You jump on a completely different server, there's completely different nodes in completely different places, completely different alliances, completely different quests opened up.
Quest lines are gated by the not only advancement of the node from a stage standpoint, but also by the types of buildings that get constructed by the citizens through the allocation of resources and treasury funds. Are all quests available to those that meet the requirements? Are all quests available to those that meet requirements? Yes. By the definition of requirements, I believe
I don't think I ever won a game.
Available if the requirements are met. Or in something like a hidden quest line, will only the first person be able to
in chat says, obviously, because this video is going up on YouTube, so we'll every now and again we can answer some questions and stuff like this. So, what's the chance of this game actually coming out, though? We've all seen Star Citizen. True. And all those millions of alpha games that come out, and they're still alpha. sorry guys, just like Scum that came out in, I think it was September or August 2018. Scum, as of the 1st of August 2020, 2 years later basically, is on its 0.4 update, which means they don't even think that game is halfway close to being fully released yet. Whereas Active Creation is completely different. So this guy here that you can see on stream, Vassetti, the main man, he has personally funded this game. So like he says, you don't have to pre-order the game like I'm going to try and do, so then I can get into Alpha 2 and play it and stream it. You don't have to pre-order the game. You don't have to, jump on all this kind of stuff. He's happy right now. If nobody else pre-orders this game between now and launch, he's happy because the game is launching no matter what. He's funded it. Do you know what I mean? It's not, oh, this game will be out in 6 more years because we only got this many pre-orders, so we don't have enough money. Do you know what I mean? It's not like that. This game is fully funded and will definitely release. We don't have an official time, which in 2 ways I like, because games that tend to go, we'll be out in 4 years time on the 3rd of March. It's like, how do you know? What if something goes wrong between now and then? Or what if things go way better and the game's ready 3 months early? So in some ways, I like the fact that there's no specific launch date, because that means that they're working through things, as it comes along. It's not going to be an unrealistic or a failed release date. It's going to be ready when it's ready. But I do just wish it would speed up a little bit, because waiting 18 months to 2 years for this game is going to kill me, The mace that causes bleeding was broken. I mean, well, it was all practice areas, wasn't it, Alexion?
Stage,
but yeah,
be able to complete the rest of the quest line. I see what you mean now.
Okay. The BR was fun to play, but
so
I couldn't play a full MMO like that.
Society and organization side. So essentially, if nodes determine that they want to build a Scholars Academy or something else, that will provide certain quest lines, and within those organizations, there will be unique quest lines that the first to achieve a rank. Okay, so let me just give you an example. So let's say for a certain temple in a node, the highest title that can be achieved is, bishop or cardinal or, some other
Cardinal LiamH.
Based on the type
that's got a
temple it is and
small ring to it.
The first person to climb the ladder in that system will be able to attain that title, and there can only be one who holds that title at a given time.
There can only be one, boys.
Yes, there are quests that exist where only one person and the first to get there can achieve it, and then there will be maintenance. There will be opportunities for others to potentially take it. Now, the benefit of that type of title is during node sieges or node events, certain titles will have special abilities.
Yes.
They'll be able to do special things during a siege or an event. So as a bishop, you may have access, when these events or sieges come online, a secondary hotbar that provides you with those abilities. You may get additional hit points. You may have additional damage mitigation.
Yes.
You're sort of like,
let's go.
A leader amongst your citizens in that regard. And that, that would be true for the mayor as well, and other positions. Okay.
I like that. I like that.
Water next to me, and I also put some tea, but I didn't drink any. And now I'm finding it difficult to talk. Okay, okay. Next question.
Physical way to show crowd morale.
What is the philosophy behind the cash shop, and how will it not destroy a pillar of MMO's visual progression? That's a good question. So let me talk about this for a little bit. When it comes to monetization and business model, I believe that the quality of a product should speak for itself, and in that regard, that is why I'm confident in the subscription system. It's also why I'm confident in not providing a box cost for the game. There's two reasons
box
for
cost
that.
massively helps this game.
And I'll talk about the cosmetic shop in just a second. I need to lay the foundation for the reasoning. So a box cost is a high barrier of entry, sometimes too high, and I believe in some cases too greedy as well.
True.
That's why I don't want to have a box cost. One, because population of MMORPGs is an important thing to have high, okay? A high population is a lot of fun, especially when there's interconnected systems that
you make this game $60 on launch plus $15 a month, which you then have to go and pay straight away. That's $75. But listen, it's 2020, 2021, 2022.
Sub-communities
Yeah,
within the
a huge
MMORPG,
percentage of people around the world have $75, no problems. A lot of people don't.
So you want to have a large influx of players. I think
You know what I mean? A lot of people don't have $75.
provides
So
both the barrier of entry to prevent
removing
some,
all that,
not all, but mitigate some gold selling, bots, whatnot, because there's a cost associated with playing the game. But it's also not too high that it gets on the greedy side or prevents a lot of players from participating in trying the game. And then if the game is good, then people will continue to subscribe.
True.
And that subscription provides funding and revenue for...
So many MMOs came out over the past 10, 12 years. A bit like ESO. They started subscription, and after 3 or 4 months, Lord of the Rings Online was another one, but that lasted a little bit longer. That lasted about a year. So many of those games came out, and then they just realized they weren't good enough. So they had to go free to play. And free to play MMOs eventually, on average, tend to suck. Let's be honest, they do, because they get ruined by the marketplace where you can buy stuff. I pay so much, I know how to pay Sophia. Oh, Alexion! Like a lifetime account thing. Now, see, on Lord of the Rings, this was another thing. So back when I used to play Lord of the Rings, the first time I was like 14, they had a lifetime account thing for £120, which is basically 10 months worth of a sub, you know? Or, sorry, it was about a year's worth of a sub. But if you paid that once, you never had to pay sub money ever again. That was a limited time thing for about a year. I obviously didn't buy one because I was only 14. I'm now really jealous that I didn't, because I subbed to that game for maybe about 4.5 years in total. Do you know what I mean? Maybe 5 years. So fair play, man. You put Alexion, listen, you put £1,000 into this game. Do you know what I mean? You must be sitting here now waiting for this game thinking, shit, let's go. But the no sub D thing is gonna be fine for you. That's pretty cool. You have to let me know if you get anything else as well, Alexion, out of that package. I never seen it on Kickstarter. I kind of came to this game in 2018 when I first ever seen that Future MMOs, you know, video that I seen on YouTube.
For the developers to continue a significant content creation and expansion rollout for the game, because content is king and content needs to be developed.
Yeah, I hope this game doesn't come out, for example, on the 1st of January.
Okay,
but we're waiting until, you know, April or May for the very first big update. Do you know what I mean? Because some people will fly through content in that first month, and they're going to need something. Just something, whether it's more quest lines, new dungeon. They're going to need something to keep going after that first month.
We are not... God, I hate calling out games, but I will call out BDO. BDO does great things. I love BDO. It's a very good, well-done game. But one thing I couldn't stand about BDO, I'm fortunately to say this, is that you look like trash unless you spent money in the cosmetic shop. That sucks, to be fair. And take that feedback, obviously, with a grain of salt. However, what I would say is, in Ashes of Creation, there is going to be legendary cosmetics that can be earned and achieved in the game.
Legendary cosmetics.
But that's going to take a significant amount of
effort
and work, okay? And that is those cosmetics are going to be on par with the cosmetics offered in the marketplace, okay? Now, with that being said, there are different types of players that exist within MMOs. There are casuals and there are hardcores. Not as unfortunate as this is to say, we as a demographic, as an MMORPG community, we are an aging group of people. And as long as the cosmetic doesn't present...
Man, here will be about 30 by the time this game comes out.
Some people love collecting cool-looking cosmetics, and they may not have the time that the in-game provides as a gate to that progression. So the key is to provide both the in-game means...
I don't mind this. I don't know if you guys in chat, like Election on that, I don't know if you agree. So let's say, you know, golden cloak of the wild tree. I've just made that skin up, right? If there's a way to earn that in-game, and it'll take you 6 to 8 hours to earn it, or purchase it for £15 off the store, I don't mind that. That's fine to me. If there's people out there rich as hell and want to kind of fund this game by buying skins and stuff, that's okay to me, so long as I can legitimately earn it in game realistically. I don't want to have to sink 65 hours into maybe getting this cloak, but somebody can buy it for £15. That I don't like. If it's a fair grind, you know, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours to earn something on average, do you know what I mean? I don't mind that, but I would also like something on the skin to say whether it was purchased from the store or whether it was earned in game. I don't know how. I don't know whether you inspect the player, you see all his items, you hover over and it says purchased from the store or earned in game. That I would like, however. I would like that system in place so you know who in the game oh shit, look, this guy, he's got the complete set of whatever. It's amazing. Oh, we purchased it all in game. He's probably, you know, not as experienced as the guy who went and ground the game for 50-60 hours to earn that full set of armor. I don't know whether they would ever accept that in this game, because it would then make you it would differentiate you, maybe make people think differently towards you. But I would like something to say whether you earned that cosmetic or whether you purchased it.
Look, you know, what's the word? Fabulous.
Yeah, I can see both sides. Yeah, exactly.
For some flair. As well as a cosmetic shop in place as well. Now, what that does is it provides additional revenue to the company so that we can continue to fund the development of content
Bonus
as
Soup,
well.
thank you very much for the follow.
Bridge the divide.
Welcome in, man. Feel free to get involved in chat.
Not having a box cost would have, and not having any pay-to-win mechanics whatsoever. And I will say this. A lot of developers and companies have come along in the past, and I've been
we spoke about this before, I think.
too, and they've said we're not going to have pay-to-win, and then boom, they roll out some pay-to-win.
That's what we said before about ESO
we
and stuff.
have consistently said we won't be pay-to-win, and in the pre-orders that we provide, and even in the Kickstarter, there were absolutely zero pay-to-win components whatsoever. So not only will we talk the talk, but we will walk the walk as well, and that will maintain its case. So to sum that up real quick, subscription good, cosmetic cash shop without pay-to-win components that has a complementary achievement system in game for different types of cosmetics, good.
Okay,
and all of that goes to provide content expansions, good.
I mean, that's fair. The game has to be funded some way. Okay. You can't have everything. You can't have no box fee. You know what I mean? No sub fee. No in-game items bought, but skins. You can't have everything. It has to generate income from somewhere. So that's fair.
Will shipbuilding be available for coastal freeholds? No, not for freeholds. So
a freehold is like a player house.
Shipbuilding is a part of the
anybody doesn't know
craft branch of the artisanship, which means that the ability to shipbuild as a profession is housed within the development of nodes, right? So those crafting stations come online the higher you go. Now, nodes that are coastal will have a hook to harbor systems that exist on the coast. So the node may not be on the coast, but it's going to be near the coast. And when it advances, it's going to spawn assets along the coast. That's the harbor crafting areas. And also have, you know, hooks for quests and whatnot.
I hope they get this part right as well. I hope they get sea battles right, because that could make the game so sick.
Shipbuilders to go and utilize blueprints to construct different classes of ships. Now, the higher the node becomes, the access they have to construct specific types of shipbuilding stations, and players will then be given access, the shipbuilding crafters will then be given access.
Yeah, sure, Lexion, yeah, feel free. If it's like an image or something, yeah, sure.
Class of ships.
If you don't mind me talking about it and popping it on screen, or if you just want me to see it, then let me know.
You will not need to be a shipbuilder profession to construct ships. The shipbuilder profession, particularly, they have the ability to craft components of the
guild
ships,
cloaks. Okay, so for anybody who can't read this in chat above on the YouTube video, so this is what Alexion got from the $1,000 or pounds, $1,000 Kickstarter for this game, right? So demonic / angelic character racial skin, guild hall appearance sort of skin, guild themed character cloaks and mount boarding. This sounds really, really good. Some kind of guild cloaks like what they had in Guild Wars 1. I used to love guild capes, weren't I? I used to love a guild cape. Every guild would have a completely different design and logo and color scheme, and everybody in that guild could then equip that cape. Do you know what I mean? Which I thought was sick, and for some stupid reason they didn't have in Guild Wars 2. So dumb. Name an NPC within active creation. Oh, Alexion, you have to let me know which one you've named. That's sick. That'll be so good. Receive 5 additional closed beta keys. Closed beta phase 2. Wait, phase 2 is the one that comes out in, well, that's alpha 2, right? That's alpha 2. That's the one I'm about to save money for and pay for next month. Yeah. Shit, you could do those giveaways on your stream. You said you're going to stream this, right? When it comes out, you could beta keys to give away on your stream. That's sick. That will help you a lot. Monster token 1, that'll be good. For when you're doing the monster raids and stuff, that'll be pretty sick. I think it will, Alexion. It absolutely will. I mean, listen, Alexion. I mean, if I weren't already planning on purchasing, which will get me into Alpha 2, I would be there, you know, because that would be something that would be pretty sick. Epic tier, receive an invitation to AoC Creation launch party. You gonna go? I'll be your +1. Let's have a look. What else do you get? A unique leader of men 4-room badge. Nah, nice. Okay, that's pretty good then. That's pretty good. The fact that you get 6 beta keys? 6 beta keys. The monster token's pretty cool. The guild themed capes, they're pretty sick as well, you know. The invite to the party, that's just a bonus. That'd be pretty sick to go. If I had the money, I really want to go. It's in Vegas. Oh man. Ooh, is there a date for that though? Is there a date? I bet there's no date on there, is there?
The ship's capabilities, defenses, speeds, turn rate, offense and defense, you know, all those types of things. And then they can sell those to other players just as you would any profession. Okay. I think what we'll do is I'll take one more question.
One more question this AMA, guys.
And then I will...
Again, if you're watching this on YouTube,
25 minutes over, that's okay.
drop some comments down below about the things we spoke about and what you think. The first video we posted a couple days ago, there's like 21 different comments on there, which is actually pretty sick. Loads of people getting involved.
A very good one.
I hope it's not 3 more years of Lexion. I'm hoping this game... Well, I'm hoping this game comes out tomorrow. Realistically, I'm hoping this game comes out towards the end of 2022. I think that could be a realistic game.
So sorry.
2022, end. That gives them 2 years to go from Alpha 1 to release.
Let's try this one. I don't know if this is a good one. Considering other AAA MMORPGs have a content drought.
True.
Endgame.
True.
That takes months for the developers to add additional raid.
We were talking about this before. Remember when I said some people will smash through the PvE content? Not everything, but they'll smash through to endgame. And do you know what I mean? Maybe they can't raid straight away because you have to wait until everybody else on your server can start to raid. But some people will smash this game day in, day out for 30 days. And if there's nothing new coming out in the next couple of months, they will just not play the game again for a while. Very few people will do that. So this game needs recurring updates just to keep things fresh. You know what I mean? Sea of Thieves is one game that's good at this. They pretty much bring out a new content update every single month, even if it's just, you know, a brand new quest line or a brand new dungeon or a brand new, you know what I mean? One more world boss added, you know, a variation to several world bosses added. Do you know what I mean? One more node has been, do you know what I mean? Like all this, I hope they bring out regular updates just to keep people properly. We've got hiccups coming back into the game.
Or zones, only for it to be cleared and farmed in a few weeks. How is Ashes going to create enough content for 103 nodes at differing levels in the next 2 years? I don't even think WoW has that many raid zones, and it's been in active development for 17 years. So, okay, that's a very good question. So there's a few things there.
Wait, hang on. Before you answer this question, some other things that Alexion got from the $1,000 Kickstarter. Invite to closed, welcome in James. Invite into closed alpha phase 1. Wait, you've got that as well? Alexion, you're going to be playing this game in the next month or two in phase 1. Mate, that's sick. Lifetime subscription to AoC Creation. That is sick. I like that. I really like that. Access to live launch head start 2 days early. This is something I hope I can buy into. With Guild Wars 2, I got that. I pre-bought the game for like 85 quid, like a year before it came out. And then I got to load in and play the game 3 days before people who hadn't pre-ordered the game, which I liked. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, and it meant that the servers weren't overly like maxed out because there was 3 days worth of not everybody has access to the game yet. Do you know what I mean? Which was pretty good. What else did you get then? Dawnbreaker epic mount. Nice. That'll be a skin, right? That'll be a skin for because they're not giving you any physical mounts. Oh, did they give you a physical mount with your Kickstarter? I thought that they weren't given any, you know? You're signing your NDA on Monday? I thought Alpha 1 was allowed to be streamed, though. Or were you talking about Alpha Now? Alpha Now, which is, like, you can play the game now, but it's NDA until Alpha 1, right? Which is in the next couple of months. Is that right? Not sure. You have to find one. Ty Thompson says, watching a video in a video in a video. Mate, it's Inception at its finest, Ty Thompson. It's Inception at its finest, but welcome in, mate. So what else did you get? You got character royalty, costume, guild name. Guild name reservation. Nice. One named reserved monster. What? It's pretty good. Oh, monster tokens 5. Elite tier, unique, braver world 4. I mean, it's pretty good. You get a lot of things there for the $1,000 Kickstarter, which is pretty sick. Alexion, when you sign the NDA, let me know. Does this mean that they're going to let you play what the alpha testing is now or not? And then you got even more things. Holy shit. You got a Moonstrider Mule, Phoenix Pet, Freehold Appearance Bundle. That's pretty good. Tier 3 character merchant costumes, monster tokens 10 times 10. That means you got like 16 of them. Legion tier unique, warrior of old, from badge unique. I mean, this is all pretty good. You got, sounds like you got a lot of things for your $1,000 Kickstarter. But James Fenn, how's it going, man? Welcome in.
The way that nodes are constructed in relation to the points of interest that exist within the world, multiple nodes they all won't advance together, right? The node structure locks out other nodes, okay? Nodes influence the surrounding points of interest. They change spawn tables of the types of monsters. They change loot tables. They open access to certain content. And this is just talking about curated content. I'm not even talking about the player-driven content. Keep that aside for a second. So on the curated front, we're not creating 103 different zones per se. What we are doing is we are creating modular systems that affect the content you experience based on the way the world is built by the players. And the catalyst for change is PvP-related systems that destroy those player-constructed nodes and change and allow other nodes to advance, which replaces that content with different content that you haven't experienced before. So that's one thing about the node system.
That's what I said before about replayability.
I've always said that the sandbox element of MMORPGs has often been used as an excuse not to create a lot of curated content, to cut down the production time necessary for MMORPGs, and
yeah, same James.
Lay the
Me and James are gonna pretty much bind the same one, I think.
Player-driven mechanics to be the end game content, and that gets boring very quickly. My favorite books that I used to read as a kid, right, were those, you know, the choose your own adventure books. The
I just thought of one random idea for this game. Oh my god, this would be amazing. I don't know if they've already introduced this, but if anybody from AoC Creation is watching this right now, listen to this for an idea, right? Oh my god, this could be so good, right? So maybe it only happens once a month on every server, but there is a random spawn world boss, right? World boss. That's fairly high end shit, right? So you got your 5 different on the way to metropolises once a month on a completely random day. So every calendar month, it could be the 1st, the 9th, the 10th, the 30th, whatever, right? A world boss spawns and it's RNG and it just goes towards one metropolis or one metropolis to attack it. Now, the whole world population has a chance to either get involved and share the loot, or depending on your whether you're alliance or not, Godzilla baby, exactly right. Depending on your alliance, or whether you want to be really sort of, you know, tactile about it. The Titan, yes, election, you get involved or not, right? So this thing, like we said before, Metropolis A, B, C, D in here, right? This could random spawn to go and attack Metropolis A. You're a part of Metropolis B. You don't really like Metropolis A. You're thinking, you know what? The potential rewards for getting some kind of loot from this big end, you know, this big world boss are pretty decent, but we don't like them in Metropolis A. We're gonna let them struggle, right? We're just gonna let them struggle. Now, it won't be physically sieging the Metropolis, but it'll be like attacking them, and which would obviously make them lose certain defenses or certain amounts of their safe storage, a bit like a siege would do, like a 250v250 siege. It'd be something like that. But basically, you have the chance as an entire server to come together to fight this or not, depending on who it's attacking once every month. Something like that, you know, just to like, oh shit, this is happening. You got like a Balrog, for example, just attacking a place. Do you get involved because you want to share the spoils? Do you not get involved? Something like just once a month, not all the time, because you're already going to have people sieging each other's metropolises, right? So you don't want to make it over the top. You don't want to be like, oh fuck shit, every 3 days we're getting attacked, which I know you can't really do. Just something random. Do you know what I mean? A complete random spawned, random time. Do you get involved for a share of the spoils, or do you just go and allow it to attack one of Metropolis that you don't really like? Do you know what I mean? And then that way you could forge alliances, because it could be like Metropolis A, B, and C all came together to fight this world boss to reduce what Metropolis B loses. And then in future, they therefore then come together. And now it's A, B, and C allianced. And you've got D and E. They're going to have to alliance together in future, because now there's a divide on the server. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. That idea, I would think, would be sick.
Those were the best books, because it involved you in the story. The nodes essentially are intended to do that. They involve you in the story. You are choosing your adventure.
I hope so, James.
And as a community, you build the world. So that's the important aspect.
Yeah, Election. They did say there was going to be monolithic size.
In order for a sandbox to work, it must
areas
have
and
equitable or
mobs.
more, in some cases, curated content than a theme park style game does. Now, that does create a significant responsibility on the content creation side for developing the game. We feel pretty confident that we're going to create a substantive and meaningful content experience from that regard. So yes, that's to answer that question. Guys, I'm again really appreciative of you guys tuning in. I'm so happy to see the feedback and the just the sheer excitement from the MMORPG community at large.
I think everybody's excited for this game.
I know
100%.
we've had our fair share of criticism, and it's not unwarranted. I gave the analogy of MMO players being like a beat dog.
Write that one down.
And I love
I'll clip it. I'll clip it later on.
I love my fellow MMO players. So I understand the skepticism that comes with new games, but we are dedicated to creating a quality experience in the form of player-driven feedback and sentiment in our community. And you being a part of this journey means every ounce of motivation to us as developers, to creating this game, to making sure that it answers the call that the MMORPG community has demanded over the past
we
decade.
do want this new game.
And it's high time that this happens. So if there's one thing I would give to you as a call to action, it's don't tell people to buy the game. They don't have to pre-order the game. Sit back, watch, but tell them to get involved.
Yes.
Spread the word for Ashes of Creation. Go out there and tell your friends that you're excited about this, or you like the ideas, if you do, and tell them to come join the Discord, follow our social media, come and be a part of the forums. Get out there and help make Ashes a reality, and a good reality that takes into account that feedback that I'm talking about. It's so incredibly important that consumers use their voice, and the way you do that is by engaging, and that is what matters.
Okay.
I know that people love my passion. I am a
Ty Thompson says this reminds me of Star Citizen.
I've been playing.
I don't know a lot about that game, but I've heard it's never coming out.
It comes from the heart. You know, I want us to succeed, and I want the community to have a game that is going to make you proud.
Yeah,
and it's gonna make.
So Ty Thompson in chat there says, but yeah, I'll wait till it comes out. So he's not gonna pre-put. So I've got like a little donation going and stuff, and when we get our Twitch payouts on the 15th and stuff, I'm gonna put my money towards it. I'm gonna get the $250 package, and the reason why is, let me just show you a reason why. Now I don't know, Ty Thompson, if you like stream or anything, or create YouTube videos, so maybe this is a little bit more important for the people who do want to stream this game, or do want to you know, sort of get involved in a bit of content creation. So if I was to buy this, for example, next week, in 2 weeks time when we get the Twitch payout, if I was to buy this now for $250, I will get access to Alpha 2 and onwards. So Alpha 2, Beta 1, Beta 2, right? Now, Alpha 2, if I roughly had to predict when this is, I'm just guessing here because Alpha 1 is out in a couple months. This will be early to mid next year, which means I, as a streamer / YouTube, we're going to do a bit on YouTube as well, I would get to play this game non-NDA on the streams and put some stuff on YouTube, learn more about the game, create more content about the game. But if you're not a streamer or a YouTuber or anything like that, I could see why you would be a little bit less inclined to put some money into this game. before it's released. I would understand. I know you get other things. So for example, in this $250, I know you get 6 months, which is $90 worth of in-game time bought for you, ready for when the game starts. That's pretty good. You don't have to worry about the first 6 months of the in-game time. You also get $100 in embers, which is their like in-game in-shop currency to buy different skins and stuff. So you get 190 of your $250 back straight away there, plus some other skins and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Some skins, which all right, I'm not, depending on what the skin is, I'm not too overly fussed. I just want, well, I want to be an Alpha 1, but I think it's gonna be physically impossible for me to be an Alpha 1, which is a shame. So I'm gonna try my best to get into Alpha 2, which again, you know, mid hopefully next year. Hopefully that's when it'll be out. Then we can stream it more, YouTube it more, all that kind of stuff, you know. The cosmetics change monthly. Oh, sweet. So these change from Bog Brute, Thicket Endowment. I don't think these have changed yet then. These were the same from yesterday, I think. Yeah, the only thing, so you don't get $60 back, James, but you get to play Alpha 1, Beta 1, Beta 2. And to me, presuming I don't completely hate this game, which I don't know why I would, I've not played it yet. To me, $60 to basically play this game in Alpha 1, Beta 1, and Beta 2 for the next 2 years would be worth the $60. Do you know what I mean? It'd be worth finding out more about the game, worth bringing it to the stream earlier, worth bringing it to the YouTube earlier. Do you know what I mean? So that I would, I think it's worth the $250 in my opinion. The $375, you get all of that, a little bit more, obviously a little bit more back in terms of physical cash back, but then you also get a named reservation. But I'm okay with that for the $75 difference. I'm okay with that.
Again, I appreciate you guys jumping in. I hope that this was fun for you and gave you guys some more information. Tune into our live streams. We do them every month. I believe we have it next week on the 31st as well. We show constant updates and constant development progress. We've done it every month.
So that video he's talking about is already on my YouTube channel.
And you can see
anybody watching this on YouTube, just go to the previous video and we've watched that.
Guys, I thank you for tuning in.
You can check that out as well if you want.
We love you from the studios and we appreciate your support. Have an awesome weekend.
There we go, boys. There we go. So that's that video that we wanted to watch on stream. Okay, that's what we wanted to watch. Let's put some music on the background. Like I said, guys, so that, like, I mean, that's not quite it. We'll talk about it some more if you want, but I want to do these videos so like every time there's something that they bring out video wise, but then also when they bring out, I won't call them patch notes, but sort of big update notes, and we can go through the wiki and stuff like that. I want to do something once or twice a month where we go through the wiki and we find a new section. James gave me this idea. We find a new section that we've not read about before, and then we talk about that. Do you know what I mean? Let me just load this music ever so slightly. I know it's a bit loud there, isn't it? There we go. So yeah, I want to do all stuff like that, but basically until I have access to this game, which should be Alpha 2, maybe sometime early next year if we're lucky, I won't be able to physically play this game or physically record playing this game until then. So I'm going to do as much as I can between now and then to learn as much about the game, pass on any of that information and opinions that we find to you guys watching this on Twitch or YouTube. Do you know what I mean? So that's what we're going to hopefully do here. Alexion will in the chat here has the £1,000 Kickstarter. So Alexion will have access to this, so we'll hopefully keep in contact with Alexion, and he or she, we don't know enough about Alexion yet. Could be he, Alex, or we don't know. Could be she, Alex. We'll find more about Alex out, and we'll see how it plays when it comes through, you know. Mail, there we go. Okay, so yeah, that'll be good. So that's what we're gonna do on these YouTube videos. If you're watching this on YouTube, that's how we're gonna do it on this channel. We'll sort of like react and give our opinions to all the big videos that come out from the game, and then comments down below, you know, all the usual stuff. Just give us some conversation, what you think's going on, and I'm gonna try and keep an eye out on their Discord as well for as long as we can, because let me just grab this over here as well. Hey James, we nearly hit 500 views for that last video as well, which is not too bad, right? That's what we're going to do there anyway. And I've got another video out. I think it's at 6 p.m. guys. 6 p.m. today, there's another video out, and then the video from this recording today will go out tomorrow. We'll put that on tomorrow. 554, shit, that means that's hit. Oh shit, it is 554. Shit, that means I hit like 60-70 views in the last hour, which is pretty sick. But yeah, guys, there we go. Anyway, so we managed to watch through that one. We'll roughly end it here for the YouTube side. That'll be gone, and then like we did with that little outro there. But yeah, so I'm interested in this game. I can't wait till it comes out.